the First Union 400. Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Jenkins, and welcome to North Wilkesboro as we get set for coverage in about a half hour of the First Union 400. And I'm joined by former NASCAR champion Ned Jarrett. And Ned, we're not here not only to preview today's race, but also to pay tribute to a very special guy. It's Junior Johnson Appreciation Day here at North Wilkesboro. Junior, of course, lives just down the road from here.
And certainly a legend in this area, Bob. He has done so much as a driver in auto racing, as a car owner in auto racing, and certainly as a citizen of this community. He has been elected to no less than 8 Hall of Fames in auto racing, and perhaps will be invited to go in more as time goes by. Just a tremendous individual.
On the racetrack, you can see Junior has gotten atop the 1903 Budweiser beer wagon, pulled by beautiful Clydesdale horses as he takes a trip around this racetrack, and the fans salute him.
Well, this is not the first time that he has followed animals, certainly in this part of the country, Bob. He grew up on a farm near here, and most of the time it was mules, not these fancy horses like the Clydesdales.
Well, of course, we'll be talking more about Junior in this next half hour, and don't forget, of course, the race coming up at 1 o'clock. Now, we've seen everybody this morning except Benny Parsons. We haven't quite located him here in this area yet. Well, is that a 1944, Ned?
Yeah, it looks like it is.
Here, well, by golly, Benny, is that you? What are you doing, Benny?
Bob, I'll be driving around the Wilkes County countryside to bring you a bit of nostalgia, like this old car I'm driving.
Well, we'll look forward to your reports throughout this area as a near-record crowd on hand here for this Winston Cup race here this afternoon, and we'll have live flag-to-flag coverage beginning at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. This half-hour special pre-race show, part of ESPN's Speed World presentation, is being brought to you by Smooth Busch Beer and Easy Drinkin' Busch Light. And we'll be back with more pre-race activity from North Wilkesboro, North Carolina Speedway, getting set for the First Union 400. Car owner, crew chief, and driver. Junior Johnson, a legend in Winston Cup racing. And this is Junior Johnson Appreciation Day at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Here's his record, Ned. Look at this. 18 wins as a car owner and 2 as a driver.
Doesn't matter what area he participated in, he was always a winner here at North Wilkesboro.
Junior Johnson's cars today are starting 10th and 20th on the grid. Well, you know, a few years ago when we came here to North Wilkesboro, we paid our tribute to Junior, calling him the Legend of Ingle Hollow. We think it's appropriate to show you that again.
Ago, drove real fast but talked real slow. They say he sipped moonshine laced with mountain snow. He was the legend of Ingle Hollow.
Born in a small house down by the creek, a big strapping cuss, not mild nor meek. He had to drive real fast just to make ends meet. He was the legend of Ingle Hollow.
He drove the Iron Horse to a victory or two, beating Curtis, Little Joe, and Fireball too. Those ghosts of yesterday still haunt this old hollow, but the legend lives on, building champions of tomorrow. He's the legend of Ingle Hollow.
He lives a simple life now, a good hound, a good car. With that bright red T-Bird, they all know who you are. It's a challenge he lives for, and all of us must face. When you come to North Wilkesboro, you've arrived at Junior's place.
You are looking at the legend of Ingle Hollow, 60-year-old Wilkes County native Junior Johnson on his very special day. And Junior, it indeed a very special day for you here where all the home folks and the folks all across the country come out to pay tribute to you a tremendous legend, not only as a driver, but as a car owner.
Thank you, Jerry. It's a great honor to have, you know, Anheuser-Busch and North Wilkesboro Speedway and all the fans here to, you know, to help me celebrate this very special day for me. It's just a treat that you can't imagine how you feel about it.
Now, you got a reputation for being able to handle 600 horsepower, but today you're handling 8 horsepower, but they're pretty sizable horses.
Well, this is foot horsepower, and what we've basically been used to is rubber on the ground horsepower, so it's a little bit different. But I've grown up on a farm and always been around horses and mules and stuff like that, so I understand how they operate and how they function. They're pretty well hard-headed, but if you train them right, they do what they're supposed to do, and that's what these here does.
What's ahead for Junior Johnson? Another Winston Cup championship? You guys got an awfully good start at it.
Well, Jerry, I think we got a good team to go at it with Bill coming aboard for us. It's been a big asset to our race team. It's just going to take a race or two on down the road like here at Wilkesboro and Martinsville to get us tuned into what he likes at that particular place. Right away we picked up what he liked at Daytona and that places because we got to go there and test a lot. So once we find his, you know, formality for these places, then I think we're on our way.
I think they're already on their way, guys. And, you know, Bill Elliott told me a little bit ago, he didn't realize how much pressure you're under when you come here to Wilkesboro and drive for this man, the legend. And if you don't win in his car here, he takes it personal. So Bill's going to do the best he can today. Bob?
All right, Jerry. Ned, you raced against Junior Johnson. What kind of a driver was he?
He was a hard charger, no question about it, and I'm happy that my career paralleled his, that we got to race together. He was one of the best, but you knew if he got on the inside of you going into the turn, you best back off because you were on your own out there. He was going on through.
Getting set for the first Union 400 here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. That's coming up at 1 o'clock live here on ESPN as we have flag-to-flag coverage. Stay with us now. Well, looks like Benny, little traveling music here as Benny moves to his next location. We'll hear from him and have more when we come back to North Wilkesboro. A special pre-race show before our Speed World coverage of the first Union 400 here at North Wilkesboro. They haven't announced attendance figures yet, but I'm sure it's going to be a record crowd. I'm Bob Jenkins, and welcome back. You know, Benny has now made his first stop. He's from this area, and he has found not only one of those 1940 Fords that he was driving in, but a whole garage full. Benny?
As I've traveled around for the last 4 years doing Hat of the Week and Buffet Benny, I got to see some unique things in different areas of the racetracks we go to. But in Wilkes County, we have hidden secrets as well. And none more secretive than Clay Call's 39, 40, and 41 Fords. You want to see a collection of beauties? Come on in. These vehicles are gorgeous. This is a 1941 Ford pickup. Here's a 1940 Ford Coupe Standard. See the black grille? That's the standard model. Over next door, the deluxe model. Chrome grille, still the coupe. Another 1940 Ford. But you know, the best Henry Ford could do was not quite good enough. These fellows started making the cars to run faster. They started souping the engines up. Went out on the West Coast, found Offenhauser, Eldebrock, making these flathead engines run faster. And why do these people want fast cars? Because they were doing something illegal. They were hauling moonshine whiskey. They had to have a fast car because they had to outrun the law. Here's what they did. They took the cars, went down in the woods to the still, took these 5-gallon cans and loaded them down, loaded this car down, took out this panel, filled the car up with these 5-gallon cans. But I want you to watch these, look at these cans. See the wooden insert that goes over the can? Why the wooden thing? So as the cans banged against each other, they didn't make a sound. A person would hear the car going through the woods, they didn't hear the metal clanging against each other, they didn't realize they're all in moonshine. But later on, the containers became quart mason jars. It was easier to sell this way. Instead of selling 5 gallons, you only sold a quart. You know, you had to take care of the customer. You know, I grew up in Wilkes County in the 50s. In the late 50s, on Saturday, you go to town, you see these cars going down the road. The back end was all like that. But Saturday night when you saw the cars, mysteriously, they leveled out.
Well, a big difference between those cars and the ones that are on the grid here today, ready to go 400 laps of competition. Now, Ned, I know you never indulged in any of that illegal moonshine making, but do those cars bring back some memories for you?
Oh, they really do, Bob. In fact, the first race car I ever drove at Hickory Speedway was a 1939 Ford Coupe. And of all of the cars that we see today, a good restored car, a 40 Ford Coupe, is still my favorite, even though, got less than 100 horsepower with those flathead engines.
Well, yesterday there was a great modified race held here at North Wilkesboro called the Lowe's 150. Great racing throughout, but the last few laps were especially good. Jerry Punch and Ned called the last few laps.
Spencer in the 71 car, behind him the fourth one, the white machine, the Pontiac of Jay Hedgecock, with 3 to go.
And remember, Hedgecock has on pressure tires, gets better traction off the turns, but Spencer doing good. Oh boy, trouble behind him as Jarvis almost got spun around.
Jarvis, the red car to the right of your screen. We'll see if Hedgecock is now. They're slipping. That was a lengthy caution flag a moment ago for oil. 2 laps to go. Paul Spencer hugging the inside groove. Hedgecock jumps back in the throttle, coming out of turn 2, up the back straightaway. They will get the white flag this time.
Boy, Spencer really driving deep into the turns, but Hedgecock accelerated better coming off the turn. 1 more lap to go. This is very exciting, Jerry.
Final lap as Jimmy Howell waves the white flag. Hedgecock on the inside. The cars almost touch up the back stretch. A quarter of a mile remains. Can Hedgecock make the move on the outside? He goes high. Now cuts the car hard to the inside. Out of turn 4. Hedgecock trying to trace him to the start finish line. And Paul Spencer will take the win. And Jimmy Spencer, his older brother, is celebrating down there with that crew. The young man making his first ever visit to the Wilkesboro Speedway comes home a winner. Boy, that was impressive.
And the top 5 finishers from yesterday in the Lowe's 150. Spencer, of course, was the winner of that race, and finishing second was Jay Hedgecock. Third was Steve Jarvis. Gary Myers finished 4th, and Robert Jeffries was in 5th position. Well, we've heard from every member of the broadcast team except one, and that's John Kernan. He's down on pit road with a preview of today's First Union 400. John?
Well, Bob, a flurry of activity this morning in the garage area. It's about 80 degrees right now. That means the track's going to be slicker than normal. A little bit warmer here than it is usually in the spring. Some of the top teams making changes. Dale Jarrett, who finished second last week at Bristol. Jimmy Makar said they changed just about everything on that race car. Also, Bill Elliott and Junior Johnson's Ford. Tim Brewer says they made about a half a dozen changes. There were some other teams that made some minor changes, so we got to keep an eye on the handling and how the cars do. Now, Davey Allison still hurting from his crash last weekend at Bristol. Jimmy Hensley is here to drive in relief if need be. Dr. Jerry Punch will have more on that later. Chad Little out of Cale Yarborough's Ford. He is replaced for 2 races by Bobby Hillen, who already has a commitment to run a limited schedule for the Martin Bahrain team. And one driver to keep an eye on, he's starting second today, Ricky Rudd. He should be a force today, and this is one of his favorite tracks, and Bob Gary DeHart says this is also one of Ricky's favorite cars.
All right, John, the crowd awaits the dropping of the green flag in about 13 minutes from right now. And looks like that Benny Parsons is back on the road again, and we'll be hearing from him again in our next segment. Stay with us. And here is King Richard Petty's statistics here at North Wilkesboro. 3 pole positions and 15 wins. Looking for number 16 here today. He is down on the grid with Dr. Jerry Punch.
And King Richard Petty making his final start in the First Union 400, the winningest driver in this Speedway's history. 15 career victories. And Richard, it's sort of like coming home, coming back to North Wilkesboro Speedway.
Well, I guess it does. We've had a lot of good success here, not only in the last few years, but in the past we have. So it's been like a homecoming, because you have got a good chance to win a race here.
This team has really come on this last few weeks. A tremendous qualifying effort at Bristol last week, and the car running so well, but then you happen to be in the wrong place at the right time.
Well, we just hope it don't happen here. We started up front, and we get in trouble. We start in the back. Maybe we don't get in quite as much trouble, so we're going to try that for a change.
They're saying that if Richard Petty is going to win one early on this year, it could happen right here today, because this track is your kind of racetrack. Can you do it?
Well, we don't know. I'm ready if I can get the car talked into it. This kind of racetrack, it changes so much. It gets so slick. If we can get the car to handle, then we can run good. If we don't, then we'll be like the rest of them.
Another legend, the king himself, Richard Petty.
All right, Ned, when they introduced him just a few minutes ago, the biggest applause you'll ever hear in this place.
Standing ovation, and he gets that everywhere we go. I'll tell you, he is so popular.
Well, we've located Benny once again. Now, he showed you just a few minutes ago What they did when they transported that moonshine from one location to another, well, here is how they make it, Benny.
Isn't it absolutely amazing what you can find at the end of some dirt roads out in the woods? This is a still. Today they're making gasohol, but this is exactly the way they made moonshine many, many years ago. Let me show you how it's done. You take your ingredients. Sometimes you use corn, sometimes you use fruit, apples, peaches, grapes, cherries. You put them in the 4x4 cookers. These are called the 4x4 cookers. You put your stuff in there with some yeast and you cook it. When it gets done, when you determine that it's done, you dip this mash out of there, you take and put it in the still. That's the black barrel. The black tank is the still. The burner is on the right. That's the rusty tank on the right. That's heating water. You put that on top of the mash, it creates a steam. The steam goes over to the little barrel on the left, the little tank on the left. That's the condenser. The steam comes out of the condenser over to the wooden box on top. There's some radiators in there. That cools the gas and turns the gas into a liquid. That liquid that comes out is alcohol. The remainder of the mash left in the still is pumped down here to the hog pen, where the hogs eat it. There is no waste. The hogs eat it all.
Hard to believe that they still have stills in this area of the country, but of course it's all legal. Great crowd on hand, and they are set to see 400 laps of racing, and it's coming up in just a few moments. The First Union 400 live here on ESPN as we continue our Speed World coverage of the 1992 Winston Cup season. And our coverage is being brought to you by Payless Shoe Source. Who'd have guessed? Payless. Well, I hope Benny didn't get into that moonshine that he was talking about. Looks like that, by golly, Benny's coming down the road. Benny, I hope you get here because the race is
Hold on, Jenkins. I'll be there in a minute.
Okay, we'll see you in just a minute. We'll have live coverage of the First Union 400 coming up here in just a moment from North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. The world's leader in motorsports coverage presents Speed World. Today, live from North Wilkesboro Speedway in North Carolina, it's the First Union 400 Winston Cup race. Weather is okay right now. Later this afternoon, the weatherman is predicting showers for this area. I'm Bob Jenkins, and welcome back to North Wilkesboro as we get set to bring you race number 7 of the Winston Cup season for 1992. You did not want to be in the top 5 in points last week at Bristol, Tennessee. Nearly everyone in that position had trouble during the race. Second in points, Bill Elliott had several problems, including a crash with Kyle Petty. Harry Gant had an oil pump belt break, sending him behind the wall. Points leader Davey Allison broke an oil line and spun in his own oil, and there were others involved, including Darrell Waltrip, Ken Schrader, and Ernie Irvin. The crash dropped Allison to a 28th place finish. Behind this incident, Morgan Shepherd also spun. He came into the race 5th in points. With all the bad luck, Darrell Waltrip was looking for help from anywhere at all.
Boy, if anybody knows how to turn luck around, please call me. I need it bad.
Dale Earnhardt was having his best race of the year, but cut a tire late in the event, sending his Lumina into the wall. Terry Labonte's good season continued with a 4th place finish. His top 10 streak continued. The new Joe Gibbs team also had its best finish as Dale Jarrett led for a while. But then 26 laps from the finish, Alan Kowicki passed him and went on for his first victory of the season, also winning the Unocal bonus money of $22,800. The quest for the Cup points, well, they really didn't change around too much in the top 5, with the exception of Alan Kowicki, whose win moved him from 7th to 5th in the points. Defending Winston Cup champion Dale Earnhardt is still in 8th in the point standings. Now, Kowicki's win meant that Bill Elliott's win streak was cut short at 4. However, the Ford win streak is continuing. And with more on that, here's Ned and Benny.
Bob, all year we've talked about the Ford-Chevrolet battle, and every Sunday afternoon the Fords have been winning that battle, but the General Motors products might have their best shot here this afternoon at North Wilkesboro. Only one Ford has won on this 5/8 mile track since 1980, and that was Mark Martin in 1990. Benny, how about those Fords?
Those Fords, those 40 Fords are wonderful, although they're a lot of work. Shifting, no power steering, unlike the cars of today. And that car had 85 horsepower. The race cars today, what, 700 horsepower? But you're talking about General Motors cars, they have a good opportunity. Ricky Rudd hasn't led a lap this year. He's on the outside pole. Ernie Irvin hasn't led a lap this year in the top 5. And Rusty Wallace qualified 5th, trying his desperately to turn his season around.
And Dale Earnhardt needs to turn his season around as well. And look for him to run good. He came in here with high hopes because he won the last race here last fall, and that was his last win. But there's been one General Motors driver who has been more consistent than anyone this year, Terry Labonte. For more on that, let's go to the pits and John Kernan.
Ned, it seems like we haven't heard a lot about Terry Labonte this year. That's because he does his business so quietly. The Iceman, the only driver to finish in the top 10 in all 6 races this year. He is 4th in points. In fact, that's 270 points better than he was at this point last year. Terry says that the team chemistry has really improved. Mark Fryer, Pete Wright came on at the end of last year, and these guys, they are just so happy to be where they are right now. And they think that they're going to win today's race. In fact, they say they expect to. Why not? Terry's won 2 races here, and he also has 10 top 5 finishes. Well, earlier we told you Davey Allison was still hurting. For more on that, let's go to Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, the diagnosis on Davey Allison was quite simple. He separated a rib from the cartilage here in the front near the sternum or breastbone. He tried to get in the car here on Friday to practice and qualify. He ran 4 laps and the pain was excruciating. He could not get in. Now, what they have done is gone to an orthopedic surgeon locally and get a transcutaneous nerve stimulator. Well, what is that? Basically, it's a battery-operated electrical device attached to his back, trying to keep the pain minimal. He ran 100 laps yesterday. It was uncomfortable, but not too bad, so he may try to run today. But if he can't, the driver who qualified his car 7th is standing by in the pits behind me. That is gentleman Jimmy Hensley, a 2-time most popular driver in the Busch Series. Doesn't have a sponsor this year, oddly enough, in the Busch Series, but whenever a Winston Cup team gets in trouble, as Dale Earnhardt did a couple of years ago with Hurricane Hugo, or Davey Allison here today, they call on one Jimmy Hensley to come be the savior. Gentleman Jimmy standing by. And oh, by the way, you think Davey Allison's been with Texaco for quite a while? Jimmy Hensley's full-time regular job is he drives a Texaco oil truck. Gentlemen?
How appropriate, and Jimmy Hensley is standing by just in case Davey Allison can't go the distance. Now let's take a look at the Sears Die Hard starting grid for today's race. On the pole, not a new record, 117.242 from Greenfield, Wisconsin, and the number 7 Hooters Ford is Alan Kowicki. Starting alongside his best start of the year, Ricky Rudd in the number 5 Chevrolet. He's from Chesapeake, Virginia, Tide Chevrolet. Terry Labonte goes from 3rd starting position. He's from Corpus Christi, Texas, in the number 94 car. And then Ernie Irvin from Modesto, California, in the number 4 Kodak Chevy. Starting in row number 3 on the inside is Rusty Wallace from St. Louis, Missouri, the number 2 Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac. And then Dick Trickle from Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin, in the number 8 Snickers Ford. Then it is Davey Allison starting inside of row number 4 in the number 28 Haviland Ford, alongside pole sitter from last year, Brett Bodine from Chemung, New York, in the Quaker State Ford, car number 26. Dale Earnhardt, who won here last fall, will begin from 9th starting position in the GM Goodwin Chevrolet, car number 3. And then Sterling Marlin in the number 22 Maxwell House Ford, one of Junior Johnson's cars. Jeff Bodine starts inside of row number 6. He's from Chemung, New York, and drives the Motorcraft Ford, car number 15. Then Mark Martin from Batesville, Arkansas, in the number 6 Valvoline Ford. Ted Musgrave, good starting position for him inside of row number 7 in the Jasper Engines, car number 55. Outside of that row will be Morgan Shepherd in the Citgo Ford, car number 21. Kyle Petty qualified 15th here. He'll start the number 42 Mellow Yellow Pontiac. He's from Randall, North Carolina. And on the outside of that row is Michael Waltrip, who qualified, became the second day qualifier, the fastest. He, of course, in the number 30 Pontiac. And the rest of the starting field as the field moves down the backstretch, getting set for 400 laps of racing.
And Bob, there's some pretty heavy hitters in the back in the pack. We saw Bill Elliott back there, Darrell Waltrip back there, Derek Cope, who has been running good, and Jimmy Spencer, who had a great run here last year, starting back there in the 11th row.
Dale Jarrett back in, all the way back there in the back rows. And there is the final cars, Wally Dallenbach and Bobby Hillen, and Bobby Hillen is driving for Chad Little in the Trop Arctic Ford this week.
And both of those starters on that last row had to take provisionals. Here's the in-car camera from Morgan Shepherd's machine, the Citgo Ford, car number 21. This is the Phillips 66 in-car camera, and remember the car today being driven by Bobby Hillen as Chad Little has been relieved of his duties. And the roof cam on Mark Martin's number 6, and also we'll have Ford telemetry working for you so you can see the RPMs on the upper right and the miles per hour and whenever Mark stands on the brake.
And he will start the race in second gear. When they throw the green flag, that car will be in second gear. He will shift to third and then fourth.
I don't think there is a seat available anywhere. All are filled. The fans are ready to see the Winston Cup action. And here we go with the first Union 400. The green flag is out.
Morgan Shepherd's car as he follows Jeff Bodine. There's Mark Martin.
Side-by-side battle here. Rusty Wallace on the inside and Ernie Irvin on the outside. That's for 4th position, and Rusty gets the measure coming off the corner.
Well, that's two of the drivers that Benny Parsons says needs to get their season turned around. They want to get to the front if they possibly can.
The leader is Alan Kowicki, last week's victor at Bristol. Rudd is running second, then Labonte. Then comes Wallace, Irvin, Trickle, and Allison. And a big battle for position going on back here.
And Bill Elliott up on the outside, but he's making some progress up there. Derek Cope right on the right behind him. Now Michael Waltrip has decided to go up on the outside. He couldn't get anywhere on the inside, so he's trying the outside.
Elliott trying to pick up positions from his 20th starting place.
I talked to Junior Johnson this morning, and John Kern was talking about changing things on the race car. He said they changed everything on that 11 car this morning. They went strictly with past history. Not what the car has done the last couple of days, but past history.
And you can see that Elliott is still working the high line. That's Ted Musgrave beside him as we take a look at the Ford telemetry.
He saw Mark hit the brakes as he goes in the corner. He's accelerating down the front straightaway up to 8,000 RPMs.
116 miles an hour before braking.
Now, Benny, I think we'll see him get just a little bit higher up the backstretch. I always thought they went slower up the backstretch, but we're not seeing that now. We'll see it a little bit later on. But yesterday in practice, he was running about 100 RPMs more up the backstretch than on the downhill front stretch here.
And a crash in turn number 4. Looks like that Dale Jarrett involved and Richard Petty.
Some heavy damage to Richard, the front of his car.
That is unbelievable. Last week, the King's race was cut short when he collided with Sterling Marlin, who had spun, and now the King has severe front end damage here on only lap number 7, and the STP Pontiac limps toward the pits.
And he's also knocked the oil cooler off the car. All that heavy smoke is off the oil cooler.
He just can't get a break, can he?
I'm telling you, this STP Pontiac runs well when he gets an opportunity to. Here it is again.
Well, it looked like Dale Jarrett was spinning coming off the turn up there. He was on the high side of the racetrack. He spins all the way around down the inside, and Richard just...
And Richard ran in the back of the Darrell Waltrip automobile. Darrell is who Richard Petty hit, not Dale Jarrett.
It looked like Jimmy Spencer was also in there in the 98 car. So our first caution of the day, and it involves an incident coming out of turn number 4. Among those involved, Richard Petty. We'll be right back. Early caution after only 9 laps of the first Union 400 to spin up in turn number 4 involving Richard Petty. Here are the top 5: Kowicki, Rudd, Labonte, Wallace, and Ernie Irvin. Our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Napa, because there are no unimportant parts. And by Goodyear, #1 in tires. And the Gillette Halfway Challenge is coming up in today's race. The driver leading at the halfway lap will earn $10,000, and you at home have a chance to win a beautiful Chevrolet Lumina Z34. In addition, if you have the correct UPC code from a Gillette product, such as right guard or sensor, you could win an instant prize. To enter, call 1-900-436-7000 before the halfway lap. The call will cost you 95 cents, and you must be 18 years of age. If your entry is selected and you are called at home, you must name the driver who won the Gillette Halfway Challenge in order to win that Chevrolet Lumina Z34. Well, the big question is my voice going to last today? Because, as you probably can determine by now, I have a cold.
Let us talk, Bob. Let Ned and I talk.
Go, guys. See you after the race.
Okay, here's the crash we saw just a moment ago. Dale Jarrett spins, and Richard Petty runs in the back of not only Darrell Walter, I mentioned a moment ago, but also Jimmy Spencer. Some heavy damage to the back of that Molly Black Gold car.
And John Curtin is with Jeff Hammond.
Jeff, Darrell was expecting a good run today, but just like last week, some circumstances happened. What did he tell you happened out there?
Well, we sit here, got a pretty good view ourselves. It looked like the 18 car come off before here and, got sideways, and a couple cars got into him. And the road got blocked in a pretty big hurry, and Richard was coming through there, pretty hard too, and he just jumped all over, hit us in the back end, and he hit somebody else also. So it got pretty hairy there for a second or two. But fortunately, I don't think we got any problem much more than just a left rear quarter panel, caved in a little bit. We got that away from the tires, so I think we'll be okay.
That's Jeff Hammond. Now let's go to the garage area where Jerry Punch is caught up with the King.
Richard Petty just climbing out of the STP Pontiac, and Richard, for the second week in a row, you can't get a break.
It ain't what I do, it's what everybody does. Other people do, and the victim of circumstances. Best people in the world can't get by with that.
What happened up there, Richard?
I don't really know. I was busy working on the #1 car, trying to racing with him, and come off the corner, and I was 17, and green car or something. I don't know. Anyhow, there's 3 or 4 of them all piled up there, and by the time Dale hollered, I seen it, and I was already up on top of them by then.
We'll let him go so they can go get working on the car here. The front of the STP Pontiac heavily damaged. Looks like the oil tank and part of the oil cooler may have been ruptured. Robbie Loomis and the STP crew now pouring over what's left of the front of this Pontiac Grand Prix as Richard Petty climbs out, wipes his face off. The crew would love to get him back in, but it's certainly a pretty difficult start here at North Wilkesboro. Bob?
Yeah, in quest of his 16th victory here at this racetrack, Richard Petty comes up way short. And the 25 car of Ken Schrader's on pit road.
Yeah, he's been in twice, Bob, and he just went a lap down. They had the hood up on the Kodiak Chevrolet, so Ken Schrader is definitely starting at a deficit here. Don't know what the problem was. They were working on the right front over there as if maybe it was the brakes or something like that, but he goes back out now, but a lap down.
And there's another driver who has had a very disappointing first part of the season. He has had a couple of top 10s. John, what was the problem on that car?
Well, I just talked to Richard Grimm. He said the brake line was leaking, so they had to tighten that up. They hope that they've gotten it fixed for now. Right now, Richard is on the radio talking to Kenny, and we should be able to find out in just a second if that did the trick when they tightened it up.
All right, but Schrader definitely starting from a disadvantage. And one more lap to go before we get the green and the resumption of our racing. Well, coming up next, right after our coverage of this Winston Cup race, Defender and Challenger semifinals once again.
You saw that NASCAR official come up and tell Richard Broom to tell Ken Schrader to go the back of the pack. Schrader, being a lap down, wanted to go all the way up front, but there's been no lapping done on the racetrack yet, so he legally cannot do that. He has to start at the back of the pack.
So he's a lap and a half behind.
Exactly.
Green flag is out. Race is on again.
You didn't understand it. Once again, the leaders have to start lapping cars before you can do a 2 abreast restart.
Ricky is pulled out for a 2 or 3 car length advantage on Ricky Rudd.
In practice here yesterday afternoon, Rudd consistently was one of the best cars in practice. He just, every time he would go out, didn't matter what kind of tires he had on, whether old or new, he still ran fast.
Another guy that is looking to turn his season around, Ricky Rudd, locked in 2nd position at the moment.
Alan Kowicki's been fast too since he unloaded here on Friday. He's been fast since they unloaded at Bristol and maybe even back before Darley. He's been fast for a long time, I'll tell you.
At this time last year, Ricky Rudd was leading the Winston Cup point standings. This year, he is 11th.
He's closed that gap on Kowicki, pulled up right on the back bumper. He goes in the corner, closes up on Kowicki, but Allen's able to get the car turned, and when he stands on the gas, he pulls away from Rudd.
And that's the key on this racetrack, is getting the traction off the turns. Rudd's, both of them really staying very low, and we'll see that for a good while, but then as the race goes on, I think we'll see them drifting up in the turns a little bit, but right now, the low groove is the place they want to run.
It's about the only place to run, so when cars start catching others, we're going to see some beating and banging, trying to get them out of the way, get them out of that bottom groove so they can go on. There's Earnhardt. right behind Davey Allison.
Davey looks like he's doing okay there right now, getting some pressure from Dale Earnhardt. Winner of the Holly Farms 400 here last fall, and as we said on our special, that's the last time that Dale Earnhardt has won.
Davey Allison's in 7th place, right where the car started. I talked to the crew this morning. They took a porta power and pushed the seat apart. Not so that Jimmy Hensley could get in the car, but so the sides of the seat wouldn't press against Davey's rib cage so hard. They've got him 4 inches of comfort inside the car. You want to call it comfort?
Now, Davey did have those ribs x-rayed in Birmingham last Sunday night. They proved negative, so he doesn't have any broken ribs, but a lot of discomfort because of torn cartilage and the muscle pulls.
Bob, before the fan starts calling in and say, Ned Jerry don't know what he's talking about, Earnhardt hasn't won since the fall race here at North Wilkesboro. He did win one of the 125-mile qualifying races at Daytona, but that's not a points race, so it really don't go down in the record books as an official win.
7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th here as Earnhardt is in 8th position, then Sterling Marlin and Brett Bodine.
Well, Brett Bodine runs good on this racetrack. You know, he has his only victory here on this track. Running a Ford this year. He won in a Buick here a couple of years ago.
And a year ago at this race, he led the most laps for being involved in an accident that knocked him out.
Right. And he thought he had a chance at the pole here the other day, but came up a little bit short. But nevertheless, still running good.
There again, we still see the cars right on the bottom of the racetrack. Once the lapping starts and get that groove work to the outside, then maybe we can see some side-by-side racing.
And the fans are on their feet here on the grandstand. They're watching the 11 car of Bill Elliott and the 33 car of Harry Gant race side-by-side, but Gant has taken that position now.
Elliott's car seems to be working pretty good, but you can see Gant pulled him off the turns, getting a little bit better traction, and that's what let Gant do so well here last fall before he lost his brakes, is getting off the turns.
Here's our first field summary. This one sponsored by Napa, as we keep you informed as to who is running where at least every 15 minutes. We'll try to do it every 10, but you can look and see where your favorite driver is running in today's race.
There we see Kyle Petty on the inside of Derek Cope, the Pure Later Chevrolet, being passed by the mellow yellow Pontiac, and that's Ted Musgrave trying to follow Kyle Petty through.
Kyle was good in practice here yesterday afternoon too, Benny. Car seemed to really be hooked up. Ted Musgrave with a good qualifying run, and he's had some good runs this year. He was runner-up in the Rookie of the Year standings last year.
Well, you can see that Schrader is a lap down, so is Rick Mast, and Richard Petty still behind the wall trying to get the front end fixed on that car so he can rejoin the race. Here's 3rd and 4th, Labonte and Wallace. Rusty sneaking up on Terry, looking for 3rd place, as Alan Kawicki continues to lead and Ricky Rudd continues to run in 2nd position. And we are 29 laps into the First Union 400 from North Wilkesboro, North Carolina, and we'll have more right after this. ESPN Speed World at the First Union 400 at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina, where Alan Kawicki leads this race after 34 laps.
That's the leader back here, 2nd place. And Rudd being trying a challenge by Labonte on the inside. Jimmy Means on the inside of the car. Labonte had to back off, but he had position on him, Ned.
Yes, he did, and Jimmy Means is the first driver to be lapped on the racetrack. So Rudd holds on to 2nd. Terry Labonte still working on him, and Rusty Wallace right there working on Terry Labonte. So you got a Chevrolet, an Oldsmobile in the middle, and then a Pontiac. Now, the car number 94 of Labonte gets alongside Rudd down in turn 1. Can he make it stick coming off the turn? Can he get the traction that he needs? He's pulling away. Yes, he does. Takes over the 2nd position, and Rusty Wallace is going to come with him.
Ricky Rudd, all of a sudden, when he gets on the accelerator, starting to lose the back end. And here comes Trickle.
Dick Trickle was another driver who really looked hooked up here in practice yesterday afternoon. They knew this racetrack was going to get slick. Rudd's car beginning to go away a little bit, it seems like, as Trickle tried to get a nose under it, as both Labonte and the car number 2 of Rusty Wallace began to pull away a little bit. So Rudd struggling a little bit. Everybody thought he would be the driver to lead here this afternoon, and certainly still might be, because as John Kernan pointed out, he likes this racetrack, but look at him going high. Trickle gets under him, and that's the break that Trickle needed, just to get right under there and take advantage of it going into turn 3.
When drivers talk about being patient, Ricky Rudd is showing patience right now. His car not hammering. He's not racing these guys. He's letting them go when they get to him, because if he starts racing with them, pretty soon they're going to crash. So he just let them go. He'll get his car adjusted and then go on and race.
Then let's go to the pits and Jerry Punch.
Ed, your speculation was indeed exactly correct. Ricky Rudd has radioed in to Gary Dehart and the Tide crew and said the car is getting a little bit loose. So let's not abuse the car right now. Let's just ride comfortably, get a caution flag. We'll make some adjustments on the car, and we'll be okay. But you're right. Everyone expected that car to be there at the end of the day. So why use it up early on here at Wilkesboro?
So Rudd has fallen from 2nd to 5th position in the last 10 laps or so and is struggling with that car now.
Well, we've run 40 laps up to this point, Bob, and the tires really, about this point, get heated up, and this is when it tells whether you got the chassis right or not, because they start slipping and sliding. The racetrack's going to be hot this afternoon, and it gets slick as the day goes on.
This is Bobby Hillen driving the Phillips 66 in car. Back in 23rd spot, started 31st or 32nd. Just moved his way up.
Just ahead of him is Darrell Waltrip, Greg Sachs, and Jimmy Spencer.
That's Dale Jarrett directly behind him. Waltrip was in the crash, remember? Also, Jimmy Spencer, both those cars directly in front of the 66 car was in the crash.
As well as the one on the outside of it there. Dale Jarrett trying to go on the outside of Bobby Hillen, but can't make the pass.
Waltrip gets on the inside of Spencer going in turn 3.
The Spencer's car not hooked up the way it was here last year when he led so much here at North Wilkesboro in this race. Darrell Waltrip, of course, went on to win it.
We saw a few minutes ago on our special pre-race show how Jimmy's brother Paul won the modified race here yesterday.
Yeah, it's interesting that these were the two best cars last spring, and here they are racing for, I guess this is about 21st and 22nd spot.
Well, I tell you, it's a tough way to go to try to pass on the outside here right now, as Dale Jarrett was trying to do there. And here's the leader, Alan Kowicki. And I'll tell you, he's not that far behind this pack of cars that we were just watching, fellas, and they know that. They want to try to get on up through there and try to keep from going a lap down.
Right now, he has his sights set on Bobby Hamilton, who is just ahead and will be lapped next.
Alan Kowicki, really, that car hooked up here today. Has himself a good lead over Terry Labonte, who is running second. And there's the third place car, Rusty Wallace, and Dick Trickle staying right with them in fourth place. Ricky Rudd is still in fifth place, but he has dropped back from this threesome that you see on the screen right now.
Terry Labonte has had a great early part of the 1992 season, and we asked Terry early in the weekend, what are your goals for the 92 campaign?
Well, you know, we just kind of take it 1 week at a time, and you know, we want to win a race. That's the #1 goal. And of course, if you can't win, then you settle for a top 5, and if you can't get a top 5, then it's a top 10. You just do the best you can every week. And then towards the end of the year, then you need to look at the points deal. You know, if we're still in the point standings, you know, with 5 or 6 races to go, then you'll start thinking about that. But right now, you know, it's still early in the season. We've had some good runs. But I think that we can improve a little bit and hopefully try to win a race or two.
Labonte currently 4th in the point standings and running 2nd in this race.
Well, I'll tell you, Bob, there's some cars that are beginning to slip and slide quite a bit out there. There we see Terry Labonte in the Sunoco Oldsmobile coming up on the Wally Dallenbach Jr. Ford, putting a lap on him. Of course, Alan Kowicki had already gone by and put a lap on him.
Look at this in the first 6 races of 1991, 1992. In 1991, he was 22nd in points, no top 5, 1 top 10. And look at that, a top 5, 6 top 10, and currently 4th in the Winston Cup Championship.
Hasn't finished outside the top 10 in any race yet.
Very consistent running.
And today has that Sunoco Oldsmobile running perfectly. Well, not perfect, if it was perfect, he'd be in front of Kowicki.
But he's running good.
He certainly will.
He might be the best in the class right now. If you categorize the Fords and the General Motors car, he is the first General Motors car. And here is Alan Kowicki putting another lap on Rick Mass.
And here's Morgan Shepherd and Sterling Marlin and Kyle Petty battling it out.
And Kyle Petty's car is running well. He is on the move. We saw him back racing with Bill Elliott just a moment ago. He's passed Harry again. He's passed Martin Martin, Michael Walter. Now he's passed Harry again, and also the 22 car of Sterling Marlin. He's on his way to the front. He's already 12.
You had a feeling that car would run good. Morgan Shepherd running good, and the Wood Brothers didn't go forward. So if we look back from the sit-go forward to Kyle Petty. Kyle took a look on the inside, but couldn't do anything with it.
Inside the back bumper of the Morgan Chevrolet automobile.
And you can see how they move around out there, Benny, as they come off of the turn. And he'll take a look on one side, then the other side. And what he wants to get on the inside is where he would like to get if Morgan would give him a shot at it.
And here again, on the inside of Sterling Marlin. Going in turn 3, has position. Should be able to make this pass.
Yep, Dan is another one that's coming up towards the front.
He moves to 13th, Sterling 14th, and now Kyle has passed Morgan.
Yeah, he got down on the inside. That's what he wanted to do, and made the pass. Morgan will fall in behind him.
Here comes Mark Martin up behind Sterling Marlin. As we look at the roof cam.
Going into turn 1. You see how low they're still running on the racetrack. And we're looking to RPMs up the backstretch now. See if it gets up to 8,000.
I saw 8,300 for just a moment there.
Running pretty good up through there.
And the speed varying from the high 60s and low 70s up to about 114 or so.
But it only got, what, to 78 or 7,900 on the front straight, which is downhill. But they get a better run off of turn 2 and can drive deeper into turn 3 than they can turn 1, so that's the difference in the RPM.
There's Alan Kulwicki. Meanwhile, the number 8 car, Dick Trickle, is beginning to make his move.
He has moved into the second place. He has gotten by Rusty Ross. He has gotten by Terry Labonte. He is now in second place. There comes Trickle.
Wow. Our track specialist from Wisconsin has his Snickers Ford moving, and he has moved to second position now. Labonte third, and Rusty Wallace fourth. Back with more from North Wilkesboro right after this. Alan Kulwicki, the leader of the First Union 400 after 64 laps.
Greg Sachs in the Kellogg's Cornflakes Chevrolet about to go a lap down. That's Strickland. The Revestis Buick. In front, is that a Buick or Chevrolet? I guess that's a Chevrolet. In front of Sachs, and right in front of that is Bill Elliott in the Budweiser Ford. All these cars in jeopardy of being lapped by Kulwicki.
He just passed the 22nd place car, did Alan Kulwicki, and now with Elliott running in 20th, he is within sight of the leader.
Well, I tell you, his car is working good down on the inside. Alan Kulwicki looking to go right by Hut Strickland.
And Bill Elliott's car not running well. John Kernan's down the pit. What's going on, John?
Well, Benny, as we said earlier, they were one of the teams that made a bunch of changes this morning in the suspension. Apparently, they went a little bit in the wrong way. You want to set the car up a little bit tight here because this track gets really slippery as the day goes on. Talk to Tim Brewer, the crew chief. He says right now they are just way too tight. They're hoping they can hang on, not get lapped, maybe catch a caution and then come in and make an adjustment. But right now, that car is not running, not wanting to turn in the corners like Bill would like it.
In talking to the driver this morning, Ned, down in the garage, we saw that Mark Martin, when he went down to turn 1 a little bit ago, was not running as fast as turn 3. And you're right. These guys are afraid to drive the car too far down in turn 1 because once they get down there, they can't get the turn. The car starts pushing. So they're backing off there to down in turn 1.
Well, here's a pack of cars that Dick Trickle has found himself in as he has moved up on the car number 1, Brick Mass. That's Jimmy Spencer in the black Molly black gold Chevrolet on the outside. And then there's Ken Schrader in car number 25. Now, here, Bill Elliott has just gone a lap down.
And the fans, some of them cheering and some of them not so happy because, after all, this is Junior Johnson country. And Junior's car is not doing well currently.
No, the Budweiser Ford, they've struggled a little bit here. No doubt about it. Didn't have a good qualifying run and just can't get her hooked up.
Another field summary for you. 19 cars now in the lead lap. Another Napa field summary. Watch for your favorite driver. See where he is running.
We see Davey Allison's moved up to the 5th spot. You know, Jerry Punch talked to Junior Johnson earlier today and talked about animals and what have you. I stopped by Junior's shop on Monday, and Ned, he was out plowing his garden with a mule.
Yeah,
with a mule.
I can believe that.
I wish I'd had a cameraman. It was a wonderful shot.
He still loves that mule. There's Darrell Waltrip, the last car in the lead lap in 19th place. Elliott in 20th and has gone a lap down. And in fact, Darrell Waltrip just went a lap down. Alan Kulwicki just passed him. Holding them down.
Third and fourth right here, Labonte and Wallace.
Well, Labonte has been able to hold Wallace off okay. No problem as far as
Crash in turn 4. Jimmy Spencer has banged the wall. Bringing out our second caution of the day.
This looks like there should probably be some contact getting in the corner. Oh, Kawicki. Oh, Spencer trying to get down, but cars are coming along. Fortunately, now he went back on the racetrack because he can't legally pit on that because the caution flag is up. Pit road is closed.
Now, when Alan Kawicki gets back there, it will be open. I think we'll see everybody coming in, and we'll be back to take those pit stops after this.
World today at the First Union 400 at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Now, we had a series of pit stops during this caution period, and this is how they came out after all the service was done.
We see Kawicki, the leader, going in, is the first car to start moving. He comes out. Here comes Trickle, and Labonte wins the race for second spot. Trickle, then Rusty Wallace, Davey Allison, Brett Bodine, and Kyle Petty.
Every car that was on the lead lap came in the first time when the pit were open, and now all those that were a lap or more down have come in for service, all of them taking on 4 tires. See Jimmy Means' car going down pit road, the lone one going out through there.
Alan Kawicki continues to lead this race, looking for his second consecutive victory in Winston Cup competition. He's the subject of our track fact this week. Track facts are brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil.
As busy as the Winston Cup crews remain throughout the year, it seems there's never enough time to get everything done. Here at Alan Kawicki's Hooters Race Shop, the crews spend 12 to 15 hours a day working on the cars, which means they have very little time for themselves. But Alan Kawicki has taken care of that by putting a conditioning area, a full weight room, over the race shop. So just like in college football where the offense works out in the morning and the defense in the afternoon, here at Kawicki Racing, it's the engine shop here at about 11:30 in the morning, pumping iron. And in the afternoon, the fabrication guys come up and work out. Now, Alan has taken it one step further by hiring full-time trainers to come here to the shop 3 days a week to work out the entire crew. And they'll even travel with them to certain events so they can make sure they stay in great shape for those sprints on Sunday afternoon.
Well, that's something, Benny, I think you can probably relate to, all that working out, huh?
That's what I need. I got to get Joe Gibbs and see if I can't go in spring training with him or something, with football training.
I certainly can't make fun of you today, though, with the way I sound, that's for sure. Back with more from North Wilkesboro after this. As you can tell by the sound, we have gone back to green. 83 laps completed. Kawicki still leads this event, arriving with Morgan Shepherd in the Citgo Ford.
And a lot of jockeying going on here. As we look out the windshield of Morgan Shepherd's car, right on the back bumper of Jeff Verdine's Motorcraft Ford.
Morgan pulls up, tries to go on the outside as Jeff has a thought about it. He is passing Ted Musgrave, the Jasper engine car.
Up front, meanwhile, it is Alan Kawicki, who is now pursued closely by Terry Labonte.
Yeah, Labonte is able to stay much closer than he was before they went in and changed tires. So whether they made an adjustment on the Sunoco Oldsmobile there, don't know, but he's really giving him a hard run.
And look who's in third. It's the number 3.
Dale Earnhardt has taken over that third spot, closely followed by Rusty Wallace. Trickle came out of the pits in third spot, but these two cars able to get by Kawicki.
Now, just after we went green, we saw Dale Earnhardt make his move and move through a lot of traffic to get to where he wanted to be.
We saw some contact with the Trickle automobile. Trickle gets out of shape. Earnhardt dives to the inside and goes by. Here's Rusty Wallace on the outside of Earnhardt down in turn 1.
And this is the battle for third position. Rusty challenging Dale for that spot.
Pretty impressive pass moving up on the outside.
It was a very impressive pass.
So Rusty Wallace now up to third, drops Earnhardt to fourth. In fifth is Dick Trickle. Earnhardt's crew, the Richard Childress crew, always getting him in and out to see if they normally pick up some positions as they did on this pit stop here today. He was running back there in about 8th position. When he came out, he was 4th, then did move up to 3rd, but now has been brought back to the 4th position as Wallace begins to move away just a little bit. Earnhardt was running strong last week at Bristol as we looked over the roof cam of Mark Martin.
And we'll take a lap at North Wilkesboro.
That's 17th place. The 66 car, the Top Arctic car, is 17th place, so Mark Martin in 18th.
Now, looking back out of the Crop Arctic car of Bobby Hillin, Phillips 66 in-car camera. Running into that bad Ford, Mark Martin, Valvoline Ford.
Bobby Hamilton, the Country Time Oldsmobile, on the outside of Hillin.
The inside, isn't it? And Bobby,
I did say outside, didn't
yeah, Bobby Hamilton is a lap down.
Davey Allison moving alongside Dick Trickle in a battle for 5th position, and Davey's running okay.
Davey is running okay, and he's on the outside trying to make a move on the outside, Ned.
Then is that the trend where we might see, normally about halfway through this race we see him move up into that second groove, but here is 2 passes we've seen here in the last little bit by front-running cars up there where Davey hasn't made that pass yet, but he's certainly working on it.
He's still trying, but as you said, he certainly hasn't made it yet. And Trickle does on that inside groove. Looks like it's still a little bit the best because he has a car length on Davey Allison.
We're approaching the 1/4 mark as 93 laps have been completed, with Alan Kulwicki leading this race and Terry Labonte second.
This is what happened to Trickle at the beginning of the race. His car didn't run good for about 25-30 laps, and all of a sudden he started going to the front. We had a caution flag when Jimmy Spencer spun up in turn 3. He goes in, changes 4 tires, and right now he's being passed by other cars. Let's see if after about 30 laps if he starts going to the front again.
Wouldn't surprise me to see it really hooked up. Might be a little bit tight now, and as he gets the tires heated up, it'll loosen up a little bit, and maybe either other starts slowing down or he picks up speed, one or the other.
That's the Kellogg's Cornflakes Chevrolet. Greg Sachs right in front of Trickle.
Trickle trying to get a nose under, going into turn 3. Here's Ricky Rudd, Morgan Shepherd, Ricky Rudd, and Barry Gant all coming up through the pack. Let's go to the pits and Jerry Punch for a comment on Ricky Rudd.
Thank you, Ned. We mentioned earlier that Ricky Rudd had been one of the cars to beat in qualifying in practice here, but early on he had a car that was very, very loose and tough to drive. In that pit stop during the caution flag just moments ago, they jacked about 2 rounds of bite in the right side of the car, and they also bumped the spoiler up. Unfortunately, all the extra work they did on the car cost them some spots on the racetrack, so they're back in traffic. But the crew said, okay, how's it feel now? Rick said, hey, it feels great. It's okay, we're going to go after them. So watch the Rudd to make a move, get traffic cleared out a little more. I can see it.
Meanwhile, Davey Allison and Brett Bodine have both passed Dick Trickle.
Also, Kyle Petty goes by on the outside. Trickle got caught on the inside behind Greg Sachs, and all these cars went by him.
Once again, here's how to enter the Gillette Halfway Challenge sweepstakes. Call 1-900-436-7000 before the halfway lap. It'll cost you 95 cents, and you have to be 18. Stay tuned to see which driver wins the $10,000 reward. If your entry is selected and you are called at home, you win a Chevrolet Lumina Z34 if you can name the driver who won the Gillette Halfway Challenge. And you can win an instant prize if you have the correct UPC code from a Gillette product. John Kernan has a comment on Kyle Petty, who's moving up.
Bob Kyle, who's radioed in and told Felix and Robin Pemberton and the whole crew that, hey, this car is just flat perfect. He had said before the last pit stop that all he had to do was find the right line on the racetrack. As soon as he found that, he took off. He found the right line once again and starting to make his move. I wanted to note, Robin Pemberton, the crew chief, came over from Mark Martin's car, a key here at North Wilkesboro. In the last 3 years, the Martin car with Robin Pemberton helping out, top 10 finishes in all the races, so they've got a lot to be happy here.
Well, Kyle Petty is in the top 10 right now. He's currently 7th in that mellow yellow Pontiac.
There we see him down in turn 1, following Brett Bodine through the corner.
We have reached the 1/4 mark, 100 out of 400 laps completed. There is your leader, Alan Kowicki, who has about a 1.5 second lead on Terry Labonte. Back with more right after this. North Wilkesboro Speedway, buried in the brushy mountains of North Carolina, and the site of the first Union 400 Winston Cup race here this afternoon. Stop number 7 on the 1992 Winston Cup Trail. Look at this great crowd. They have general admission seats in the backstretch, and boy, they went in quick order this morning. And all of these reserve seats here on the main straightaway and out turns 1 and 2, they're gone. It's a near capacity, if not a total capacity crowd.
And here's our leader, Alan Kowicki, still just motoring away. He has motored away from the 94 car of Terry Labonte, who still continues to run second.
Looks like Labonte can run with him for a lap or two, Ned, and after about 4 or 5 laps, Kowicki starts pulling away, and right now, looks like he's beating Labonte by about a 500th of a second a lap.
And Dr. Jerry Punch has a report on Alan Kowicki on pit road. Jerry?
Thank you, Bob. Alan Kowicki has basically taken a page out of the Harry Gant's playbook. What Gant did a year ago, take an old car, about 3 years old, that's how old the Kowicki car is, and make it work week after week after week. Then you don't dismount from a winning horse. So Kowicki had this car at Darlington, remember running second with 9 laps to go when the engine expired. Took the same car to Bristol last week, set on the pole, and won the race. Brought the same car here to Wilkesboro, set on the pole, and he's leading so far. So Harry Gant's got a pretty good philosophy, and it's catching on in a hurry.
Hey, Doc, what do you do for a cold and sore throat and hoarseness?
Well, Benny had the solution, but early on, but he was about 20 miles from the racetrack.
I know what you mean.
Jerry, we need Bob with us up here. You know, someone told me down the garage this morning that that's one thing that's hurting Bill Elliott. The car that he won all the races with was the same car. He wrecked that car in Bristol. He's come here to North Wilkesboro with a new car and can't get the handle right. So these guys, when they get a winning combination like Harry Gant last year, Alan Kowicki, they just keep running that same car over and over again.
And I think it's smart. Here is the car number 6 and the car number 4 of Ernie Irvin. They bang together a little bit, and you can see Alan Kowicki coming up behind them. They want to get going here so they can keep them going a lap down.
That's why Ernie is in such a hurry, because they want to get going, because he's going to go a lap down if he don't hurry.
Now, Irvin is in 18th, and Mark Martin is in 17th, and Kowicki is trying to put a lap on Irvin right now.
Kowicki's on the inside of Ernie. He's got that preferred position.
And that's where Kowicki's car seems to work best, is down on the inside. Now watch him when he comes off of that turn. He slipped a little bit that time, but he's up beside him going into turn 3. He should be able to get him now coming off of turn 4.
Here's a good battle for position. Brett Bodine, Davey Allison, Kyle Petty.
That is 5th, 6th, and 7th. Brett Bodine is in the 6th position now, as he has moved around Davey Allison. Now Kyle Petty wants to move up there and move around. And right behind them is Dick Trickle. Trickle's car, as you mentioned, Benny, beginning to come back a little bit.
Yeah, it's been a few laps since the caution flag, since they changed tires. Now his car is starting to be as good as anyone's.
Oh, it looked like Kyle got a little low there in the 4th turn, and King Richard Petty has rejoined the race. He was involved in a very early incident here on the main straightaway with other cars, and just like last week at Bristol, he's got the whole doghouse nose off that car, but yet Richard is back out there in competition.
No problem getting air to the radiator in the wall.
Air to anything, you're right. Here's Kowicki trying to put a lap on Mark Martin. He's on the inside and drives in and puts Martin a lap down.
Now 16 cars on the lead lap. Mark was in 17th.
Well, I'll tell you, Kowicki has been awesome. He really has been strong. Awesome or whatever. If you put the adjective there, he has been it.
I saw an ad in the newspaper a couple of weeks ago that said they don't call him Awesome Bill because he rhymes. Well, I think we can say that for Kowicki. Awesome, very awesome.
Ford telemetry hitting the brake now as the RPMs drop to 4,700 and then begin to climb as he steps on the accelerator going down the backstretch.
113 mile an hour top speed. 70 miles an hour down in turn. Ooh, there's Kyle Petty trying to get on the inside of Davey. This is a race for 6th spot. Brett Bodine, we saw him a moment ago. He's up in 5th.
And was pulled away from Davey once he got by.
And there's Dick Trickle sticking his nose into that battle for position.
Also, Jeff Bodine, that red car right behind him. is in the same lap with these cars.
Now Kyle's going to try it on the outside. No, you just faked him out there. Pulled back on the inside. That didn't work either. David's been through this little ritual before.
Was it last spring that he and Brett Bodine went in turn 3, something like that?
And didn't make it.
And didn't make it, yeah.
I think Kyle's car right now is a little faster than David's, but it's tough to pass on this racetrack when you have cars that are almost equal.
I believe you're right. I think if Kyle could get in front of this David, he'd be able to drive on. But
there he gets the nose under him coming off of turn 2. Let's see if he can make it stick. Nope, he just couldn't get the traction he needed.
Not quite.
And coming right up on them, you mentioned Jeff Bodine. He has caught him now, Benny, and right behind them you see Morgan Shepherd coming into the picture and Ricky Rudd right behind him. All that is for position. This is 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th position.
6 cars running nose to tail on the racetrack. We will keep an eye on this battle as we take another break with 125 laps completed. In the First Union 400 at North Wilkesboro, we'll be right back. Well, you'll notice by the reduced speed that we are under our 3rd caution of the day on lap number 130. And this is what happened in turn number 2 as Petty and Allison were battling for a position.
once again, Kyle Petty trying to get position on Davey Allison. They touch. Around goes Davey, and Dick Trickle gets hit behind by Jeff Bodine. He spins. Not a lot of damage to the car, but it did bring out the caution play.
Jerry Punch is in Alan Kulwicki's pit.
And the speed on pit road, Bob, 30 miles per hour today, so very deliberately Allen brings the Hooters forward down pit road. Now they all follow suit. Terry Labonte comes down, Dale Earnhardt, here's Brett Bodine. Most of the cars on the lead lap now pitting behind Alan Kulwicki. There's Rusty Wallace in the Pontiac. Changing right side tires, now around to the left side. Expect a 4-tire change on all these cars. 7 on top of your screen. Kulwicki's forward on the bottom of the Oldsmobile of Terry Labonte. Left side tires already on. Kulwicki's forward. Labonte getting left side tires. Kulwicki is down and away, and now the jack's down and away for Terry Labonte. So it'll be Kulwicki, Labonte, and the race back to turn 1, possibly Rusty Wallace.
What about Dale Earnhardt? Looks like he got out in 2nd place, right behind Kulwicki. Once again, Richard Childress, that crew, Kurt Chelmerdine, David Smith, all those guys doing a super job.
He's pitted in the very last pit, way into turn number 1, but it is a tribute to that crew getting him out so quickly. He'll be in 2nd position, and Kulwicki will still have the lead. When we go back to racing in just a moment, stay with us. Welcome to North Wilkesboro Speedway in North Carolina as we present live flag-to-flag coverage of the First Union 400 Winston Cup race, currently under caution with 133 laps completed. Our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is One Tough Motor Oil. And by Smooth Busch Beer and Easy Drinkin' Busch Light. Still under caution because of a crash out in turn number 2, and here it is from another angle.
Kyle Petty trying to get by Davey Allison and make some contact. Around goes Davey. Kyle continues on. We see Dick Trickle just get touched in the back. Around he goes. He lost a lap. Was unable to get his car going. Lost a lap as the green flag waves.
Ernie Irvin trying to get his lap back. We saw him get lapped on the racetrack, and a lot of smoke there from Wonder. Jimmy Means, I think, has something wrong, either engine or something up ahead of them.
And here's Earnhardt trying to follow the 4-car by, trying to get the lead.
And fellas, there's some rain in the area for rain clouds, and Earnhardt takes the lead.
Yeah, the concern right now has to be rain because there is even lightning visible from those sitting in the grandstands here at North Wilkesboro. So it could be that we're going to the halfway point here. Dale Earnhardt, sensing that, has taken his GM Goodyear Chevrolet to the lead.
Plus the fact that there's been so much said about him not leading a lap until last week at Bristol, and of course he now has 5 bonus points for leading a lap, and he's tired of hearing people say something about him not leading races. Of course, that was style to go to the front end.
That was big smoke coming out of Jimmy Means' car. Not as bad as it was just a moment ago.
Ronnie Irvin has spurted way out in front of Earnhardt, so if the caution should come out, he's going to be in good shape and get back in the lead lap.
And Jerry Punch has another report on pit road. Jerry?
Terry Labonte just radioed the crew that he has never had a car here be so consistently good. Now, he's biding his time in traffic right now, but he has said the car is just outstanding. In fact, he told his crew chief, Pete Wright, you get on the phone right now when you get a chance, call Mike Laughlin and order another one just like it.
Those guys have done a super job this year. Pete Wright, all those guys down at the Sunoco team, the Billy Hagan team.
They really have. Of course, Mike Laughlin, one of the famous car builders in auto racing. And here's Kowicki trying to pass Earnhardt back.
Kowicki gets a great jump off the corner, and now he's on the inside, has position on Earnhardt.
Let's see what happens as they go into one. I sure hope they don't spin, or I'm going to have to yell, and I can't do it. Just they do.
We'll yell for you. Kowicki makes a nice smooth pass.
Well, maybe. Here's Earnhardt coming back up on the outside. I don't think he can make a stick, though.
What Earnhardt trying to do is get on the inside so Labonte and Rusty Wallace and all those cars wouldn't go by. He was trying to get back to the inside, but couldn't make it before Labonte stuck his nose in there. He wants to get back to the inside so Rusty can't make the pass.
Well, we saw Rusty pass Earnhardt on the outside a little while ago, but he's going to try to do it on the inside this time.
Good stuff here.
They bang together a little bit coming off the turn. The fans are absolutely loving it.
And Bobby Hillin has a great shot. I mean, as we look from inside his Phillips 56 car.
Bobby had just gone a lap down right before the caution came out.
Wow.
Ooh, some contact between those two cars. Earnhardt does a great job. Oh, and he almost gets hit by the 66. I'll do the yelling for you, Bobby.
Oh, man.
Well, let's see. Another little left tap coming up. Yep. There he goes. Here comes Earnhardt back on the inside. Turnabout fair play, I guess he said. There he goes. Rusty moves high. Here comes Bobby Hillin down on the inside. Rusty's out of position up there. He wants to get back down on the inside, but Hillin's there, and he can't get back down there.
Boy, you are right, Ned. The fans are just going absolutely crazy here on the main straightaway, watching this great side-by-side action.
Meanwhile, Alan Kowicki and Terry Labonte pull away. Here they go again. Boy, the fans are just cheering as they're loving. You can see them there. They're loving every minute of it. Well, here comes Earnhardt again. He's not through.
I think these guys are saying, okay, we've had enough. Let's race.
Somebody's going to get hurt in terms of hurting their car to the point they're going to be uncompetitive, so they'll cool it for a while.
Yeah, I think Rusty has the upper hand now. He's out there. He can set himself a groove, get himself in a pattern. He should be able to pull away from Earnhardt.
You know, the thing that really hurt those two guys is they were battling for position. Both Kowicki and Labonte just moved right ahead. They're almost a full straightaway now ahead of this third and fourth place car.
Yeah, they probably lost 4 or 5 seconds while they were trying to pass each other. Rusty passed Dale, Earnhardt passed him back. This is inside Bobby Hillin's Phillips 56 car. Once again, Chad Little drove the car the first 6 races this year. Last week he was released, and Bobby Hillin is only going to drive this car 2 races, and then he will go back to his regular 53 car.
It will be interesting to see who drives that car starting in Talladega, because Bobby will be in it at the next race in 2 weeks at Martinsville, and then the seat is pretty much up for grabs. The roof cam on Mark Martin's machine, and Mark currently running in 18th position.
1 lap down.
Once again, we see the telemetry system. That's Harry Gant directly in front of Mark Martin. Soul Bandit accelerating rapidly up. You can see just how fast that tachometer goes and how slow he gets, how fast it slows down.
They have to get on the brakes a little bit going into the turns. Not as much. Looks like they almost tipped the wall there. They don't get on the brakes as much here as they will at Martinsville in a couple of weeks. But they still have to use the brake system.
And just ahead of Harry Gant, the number 21 of Morgan Shepherd, the 42 of Kyle Petty are battling for position. That's for 6th position.
And they were in that big pack of cars that caused the last caution.
And so with 151 laps completed, it is still Alan Kowicki leading the first Union 400, with Labonte second, followed by Wallace, Earnhardt, and Bodine. Jenkins, Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch back in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina, and the first Union 400 led by Alan Kowicki. Well, coming up next, right after our coverage, we go to San Diego, California for more coverage of the America's Cup, Defender and Challenger semifinals. That's right after our Winston Cup race this afternoon on ESPN.
It must be amazing to watch that. I'm always traveling when the race is over. I don't get to see the America's Cup, but it must be amazing to go from 100 miles an hour to however fast those boats run.
Yeah, and you know, there's just as much technology, if not more, and more strategy involved in those America's Cup races as there is in Winston Cup competition.
But those pit crews on the boats work too hard. I mean, they're working non-stop. These guys only work 20 seconds at a time, so...
Here comes another field summary for you, sponsored by Fram. Watch for your favorite driver. This is the standings as of about a lap ago.
See Brett Bodine up in the fifth spot, that Quaker State Ford.
Davey Allison dropped back to 10th after that spin over there, but he still is in the lead lap.
Harry Gantz moved up from the 8th spot. I think he qualified about 16th. Sterling Marlin 14th, and Ernie Irvin back in the lead lap 15th. All these cars are a lap down. There's the 94 cars. Terry Labonte. He's currently running second, and
been right there all day.
Sure has.
Dallenbach, Hamilton, Schrader, Mast, and Spencer. With Schrader, Mast, and Spencer 3 laps down the field. And then Jimmy Means is 5 laps down, and Richard Petty back on the racetrack 110 laps down after a crash. There's the third place car of Rusty Wallace, and there's the second place car of Terry Labonte.
We see Rusty Wallace, and directly behind him is Dick Trickle. He's gotten by Dale Earnhardt.
But he's a lap down.
That's right. He is a lap down. Earnhardt is the next car in position.
Earnhardt moved to the inside just a lap or two ago and let Trickle go by on the outside. But Trickle has a long way to go to catch Alan Kowicki before he could get back in the lead lap.
It's too bad because there were a lot of people thinking that Trickle had one of his best chances of winning here this afternoon because he is, of course, loving this kind of racetrack. But given a lap down.
Brett Bodine on the lead lap. He following the Bill 66 car, Bobby Hill, and we were looking out of his car now, but Dale Earnhardt.
There we look back on Brett from the bumper cam.
That's Brett Bodine, who is currently in the 5th position. Brett sort of on the spot on the racetrack there by himself.
We're getting closer to the halfway point to enter the Gillette Halfway Challenge sweepstakes. Call 1-900-436-7000 before the halfway lap. The call costs you 95 cents. You must be 18 years of age or older to enter. If you are called back during the race and you can name the driver who had won the Gillette Halfway Challenge, you'll win a new Chevrolet Lumina Z34. And you can also win an instant prize for having the correct UPC code from a Gillette product. The Gillette Halfway Challenge coming up in 33 laps, right?
Oh, you're good, Bob.
Thank you. Boy. Now, another thing, again, we have to think about is rain, because we have seen some lightning very close to this racetrack. John? Jerry, what's the situation down there?
Thank you, Bob. We are seeing some thunder showers, some lightning off of turn 3 and 4. Now, I'm inside the NASCAR trailer here on their weather radar. Let me show you what we're looking at here. Behind me, this is Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina. And right here is North Wilkesboro Speedway. This large green area here is a thunder shower front with the yellow, which is intense thunder showers in the middle. That is between North Wilkesboro Speedway and Hickory, North Carolina. It is moving north-northeast this way. We may get a fringe of that. We may get missed by that, but look behind it, about 50 miles away over toward Asheville, a larger front with some significant thunder showers in it, also moving north-northeast. We may get lucky. We may get some rain sometime in the next half hour.
We're going to give Punch one of those American Meteorologists Association seal of approval or whatever. Pretty good, Jerry.
Now, we've only got 30 laps to go to the halfway point, and of course, if we do get rain that lasts for any length of time after that point, then the race will be declared official. So right now, the competitors are going for that halfway point, not only $10,000 in the Gillette Halfway Challenge, but also a possible victory in the race.
Kyle Petty's car is starting to slip a little bit because Jeff Bodine passed him just a moment ago, and now Morgan Shepherd goes by on the outside, or trying to go by on the outside.
And now let's go down to John Kernan with the report on the 21 car of Shepherd.
They thought they would have a pretty good run this weekend. Bob talked with Eddie Wood yesterday. He says it's unbelievable how well he and Morgan Shepherd and the whole crew get along together. They had heard rumors that Morgan was hard to work with. He said that has not been the case. He said Morgan has been willing to come in, take a try on their chassis setup, and then fine-tune it, which is really what the Wood brothers were looking for because they needed some help out on their chassis. They said that Morgan has worked out as well as they can hope, and right now that is very evident. He's running in the top 10, and the Wood brothers team is also in their best points position at this point in the season for several years.
Morgan Shepherd is 6th in the points. He was 5th until last weekend when Kowicki knocked him out of that spot with the victory. And now this is the battle for 7th position between Kyle and Morgan.
Morgan's not afraid to drive on the outside. A lot of these fellows are real timid to go out there, but Morgan went outside and made the pass.
And Kyle gave him the running room. Went in that turn a little bit hard, went high, but maybe that was a planned move.
Well, that's exactly what those fellows are talking about, Ned. When you get in there too hard, they just can't get the car to turn. And Morgan Shepherd, a prime example.
When I say it was a planned move, now we have seen him sort of be that corner down there, run up high, and then take a square back to the left, but I don't think they're quite ready for that yet. I don't think the groove is working that way.
Meanwhile, Ernie Irvin is still stayed in front.
But he's been caught now by Alan Kowicki. He had moved out about 2 seconds ahead, but now Kowicki is running down, trying to put him a lap down.
Alan Kowicki is the leader of the race, looking for his 2nd consecutive win in Winston Cup competition. 176 laps completed. Welcome back to North Wilkesboro, where Alan Kowicki has the Hooters Ford out in front of the First Union 400.
18 laps, 17 and a half laps to go to halfway, and these fellows know the rain is coming. They've been told.
Here's 2nd and 3rd, Labonte and Rusty Wallace.
Now, Wallace has caught Labonte. He was a couple of seconds behind, but now he has run him down. And right behind Rusty, as they pass that car, you see Dick Trickle coming in, that fellow, he's fastest car on the racetrack. I said a while ago he had a long way to go to take Alan Kowicki. He's mowing him down. He was definitely gaining on him.
There's Trickle moving to the inside of Bobby Hamilton in the country time car.
Rusty Wallace looks like he's got his car running as well as he has this year, Ned. Seems to get a grip off the corner.
While we watch this battle for 2nd position, it is our great pleasure to announce that
Spin up in turn 3, Fred Bodine and Wally Dollenbach Jr. get together up there going into the turn.
Dollenbach hit the wall pretty hard at the rear end of the car, got sideways and slid up the banking into the wall, and his car sits against the outside barrier between turns 3 and 4, and that'll bring out caution number 4.
And Ernie Irvin racing back to the start-finish line, trying to stay ahead of Alan Kowicki, and he does.
And so did Bill Elliott. A big break for both those cars.
Yeah, Elliott was about to go 2 laps down, so now he only stays 1 lap down, but Ernie Irvin backing in the lead lap.
Irvin, 15, goes back in the lead lap.
Going into turn 3, Brett Bodine had a nose up under Dollenbach. I don't think Wally saw him. I was looking straight at it as it went into the turn. They touched just ever so slightly and sent Wally spinning around. You can see the damage to the left rear of the Keystone rear Ford. Quite a bit of it.
It wasn't very far to his pit, so Wally just put it there, and now the leaders will be able to come in. Those who are on the lead lap, and Jerry Punch, Allen's headed your way.
Slowly but surely, he is coming down pit road at about 30 miles an hour. Terry Labonte now peels to the outside. Kowicki will turn left, so will Rusty Wallace, but Bodine, Earnhardt, and Labonte will go further down pit road for their pit stalls. The car's on the lead lap, being able to pit on the first time by. Alan Kowicki did not want to see this caution flag come out just some 13 laps prior to the halfway point, but with the weather coming and the caution flag out, they had no choice but to pit. One tire now rolls across pit road. Here comes a Miller Genuine Draft crew member back to catch the tire. Kowicki's car down the way. Here is Terry Labonte away. Whoa, and Labonte comes into contact with Jeff Bodine, and they are leaving pit road. They rub right front and left rear as they scamper toward turn 1.
But look who won the race out of the pits.
The 3 car,
Dale Earnhardt.
Man, I tell you just see it so many times. That crew consistently gets the job done.
Here's Labonte The fuel man is saying, the catch man is saying, I'm all set, and boom, he runs in the left rear tire off Bodine's car. And I tell you what, that could have done some damage to the right front of Labonte's car.
I think he hit it hard enough to maybe have done some damage. We'll keep our eye out for that. Under caution for the 4th time this afternoon, we are only 12 laps away from the halfway point. The shot from the pace car as it pulls off. Just as you come back, the race resumes. The green flag is out. Dale Earnhardt is the leader of the race. Alan Kulwicki second, then Brett Bodine, Jeff Bodine, Terry Labonte, and Kyle Petty. And we are 9 laps away from the halfway point.
And Dick Trickle's on the inside trying to get his lap back. He can't jump Earnhardt, and neither can he jump Kulwicki.
And you mentioned earlier that on the restart, with new tires, his car doesn't seem to be quite as fast. He's on about Trickle right now. But after they run a little while, he has the fastest car on the track.
And here's a guy that's been quick all day, Alan Kulwicki. That Hooters Ford car is running beautifully. Earnhardt runs good for a few laps, seems to fade. Let's see if this time they've adjusted and he keeps that car out front.
They're going for $10,000 in 3 laps. Less than 3 now. $10,000 will be awarded to the driver leading at the halfway point. When they come around this time, they will have completed 194 circuits. Here comes Trickle sneaking up again. Earnhardt maintains the advantage.
And he's going to make him pass him on the outside, Bob. Earnhardt staying right down on the inside of the racetrack. He don't think Allen can pass him that quick on the outside. But Allen thinks he can. Here he comes up on the outside going into turn 3.
Wicki really gets a great jump off that second corner. Pulls up on the outside of Earnhardt, but I don't know if it's going to be enough.
Kulwicki trying.
Yeah, it's tough up there when you have somebody that knows how to use this racetrack as good as Dale Earnhardt does. His car might not be the fastest out there, but on new tires, he knows how to use that track, and he's going to do everything he can to get that $10,000.
Or the halfway point.
Kulwicki and Trickle got together coming off that 4th corner, so Kulwicki's got to be careful and realize Trickle's back there.
.197 complete. A little how do you do?
Yeah, I'm here.
You saw Trickle wave to Earnhardt and say, I'm sorry, man, I didn't realize you were going to slow down that much.
Yeah, Trickle is not the type of a driver that gets into a bumpy match. I mean, he's an aggressive race driver. He'll certainly get in there and race with you, but he's not going to knock you out of the way to pass you.
Next time around, it'll be 1 more to go for the halfway mark. Here's lap 199 completed. Whoever leads the next lap will get $10,000.
And I bet if Earnhardt leads the next lap, here comes Kulwicki up on the outside, that he won't lead over 1 more lap after that. But here they come.
Yep, he's going to try it on the outside. He's about a half a car length ahead now, but Earnhardt battles back to the inside. Here they come off the 4th corner. At the halfway point, it is Earnhardt by about a quarter of a car length.
You know, Kulwicki did not win the $10,000 last week at Bristol. Darrell Walker was the winner of the Gillette Halfway Challenge. So, as good as his car has been, both times could not take home that money.
Well, I tell you, it's tough up there on the outside, Benny. He's driving his heart out, Kulwicki is, but just can't get by. Now he inches ahead just a little bit more coming off the corner.
So our leader at the halfway point is Dale Earnhardt. He takes home the $10,000 Gillette Halfway Challenge Award. Now, if you have been in the contest and your phone rings in the next few minutes, they ask you who is leading at the halfway point, tell them Dale Earnhardt. And if you do, you'll win the Gillette Halfway Challenge and the Chevrolet Lumina Z34.
Kulwicki still struggling, trying to get by. Here's our Western Auto recap at the halfway. Dale Earnhardt was the leader. He had led 18 of the 200 laps. I think Kulwicki, the only other leader this afternoon. Then 4 caution flags for 25 laps. There right now are 15 cars on the lead lap. As we can see, there's been two leaders this afternoon, Kulwicki and Dale Earnhardt. Average speed so far, 92.81 miles per hour. And Jimmy Meade spins down in turn 1, and the caution flag waves.
That's Ted Musgrave.
Top start.
Down to turn 1. And another caution. And the pace car quickly scurries out to pick up. Ooh, and Trickle.
Well, he doesn't think that these cars took the caution flag.
Right.
NASCAR is saying they did take the caution flag, so Trickle will have no choice but to fall back.
Elmo Langner, the pace car driver, brave soul, just jumped right out there in front of him.
He's out rubbing fenders with those race cars, wasn't he?
Oh, he enjoyed that too, I guarantee you.
Now, Trickle cannot make a pit stop. These other two cars will all come in. Earnhardt, Kowicki.
And Brett's going to stay out.
Brett stayed out, and also Labonte stayed out.
Yep.
Well, they really haven't run that far, so I guess they're gonna take advantage of the track position. Let's go to the pits and Jerry.
Well, you got to wonder the strategy a little bit here, Ned. Some of the crew members saying they felt a drop of rain just about a minute ago, about 4 or 5 laps ago, but that doesn't change anything. Kowicki is on pit road. Rusty Wallace is on pit road. 3 on the top. Earnhardt, the Goodrich crew, going to work on that Chevrolet. All the way at the very end of pit road, Earnhardt, by virtue of being the Winston Cup champion, gets the #1 pit spot, while Kowicki pitting about 15 pits further up pit road. And now left side tires on the Goodrich Chevrolet. Likewise, left side tires on the Hooters Ford. Off the jacks for Kowicki. He's 10 for second. Earnhardt is already gone.
Well, I tell you, Jeff Bodine made an awfully fast pit stop there too, fellas. I don't know if he changed all 4 or just the right side, but he got out right behind Earnhardt, and Jeff Bodine was running in the 4th position before this caution came out.
So he'll move from 4th to 2nd, and Kowicki will be 3rd, and Gant, Rusty Wallace.
Well, let's see.
Actually,
Brett
that's not
Bodine's
true.
leading.
Yeah,
Brett
Bodine is leading, and Terry Labonte, 2nd. Well, you saw the great work on pit road just a few minutes ago by the mechanics. Here is the Mechanic of the Year standings from Western Auto. Tim Brewer is on top from Bill Elliott's team. 2nd is Larry McReynolds from Davey Allison. Andy Petrie 3rd in the standings, tied with Steve Neal. And Dewey Livengood is in 5th position in the Western Auto Mechanic of the Year standings. Dewey, of course, with the Terry Labonte team. We are under caution for the 5th time. We'll be back with more live coverage of the First Union 400. At 209 laps, all 32 cars still running. In the First Union 400 being led by Brett Bodine. 2nd is Terry Labonte. In 3rd position is Kyle Petty. In 4th is Michael Waltrip, and 5th is Ricky Rudd. As we go inside Bobby Hillen's car with the Phillips 66 in-car camera.
Who is running right behind the leader, Brett Bodine. Hillen has really run good in the last 100 or so laps. He got a lap down there a little earlier, but he is really running good.
There's the 2nd place car of Labonte running right behind Bobby Hillen. Jerry Punch has reported from pit road that he has felt some raindrops, but we are past the halfway point now, so if it should rain hard the rest of the afternoon and they call it a race, that will be it.
I would imagine that's one reason that Brett Bodine stayed out there. There hadn't been too many laps since the last caution flag, and hey, if it rains in the next few laps and continues raining the rest of the day, I'll win this baby.
As he did once before here at North Wilkesboro, Brett winning his one and only Winston Cup affair here.
And not only that, his car's running pretty doggone good right now. Labonte can't catch him.
And it has all year. You know, this team has had 2 top 10 finishes, but they have been in just about every one so far. His best finish was at Rockingham, or rather make that Darlington, where he finished 6th. He was 8th at Rockingham and 11th last weekend at Bristol.
Kowicki is caught back in the pack. There's Earnhardt going by Dale Jarrett. Jeff Bodine follows right on through, and there's Kowicki.
Earnhardt is 6th. Jeff Bodine is 7th, and Alan Kowicki back in 8th spot. Right behind him there again. Let's see. There's Rudd leading that group. Kyle Petty.
Rudd trying to make a move on Michael Waltrip. That's for 4th.
Walker stayed out just a moment ago, didn't make the pit stop, so he's gotten up front, trying to make the most of it in that Pennzoil Pontiac.
We had a poor qualifying run on Friday here, but then came back yesterday and was the 2nd round fastest.
Unfortunately, though, he's caught there on the outside. He lost 2 spots to Rudd and Earnhardt.
But he dove back on the inside. Jeff Bodine couldn't get position on him. And Jeff said, rats.
And Again, all these cars battling for position on the lead lap, and there goes Earnhardt passing Ricky Rudd. And so Earnhardt will go to 4th.
He comes back, closes that spot, so now all these cars behind will have to pass on the outside if they're going by.
This is the second race in a row that Dale Earnhardt has looked good. He was very competitive at Bristol last weekend. Unfortunately, with less than 50 laps to go, into the outside wall, eliminating any chances of victory, but he certainly has to be considered among the contenders here today.
Now, Kyle Petty did not make a pit stop, so Earnhardt's tires are a little bit fresher than Kyle's.
He's not having a very good year compared with last year when he came into this race second in points. Now is 8th. 177 behind the points leader, Davey Allison, looking to take a position away from Kyle Petty.
Took a look on the inside of Kyle, couldn't quite make it. Jeff Bodine has gotten by Michael Waltrip. Now Kowicki gets on the inside, takes that position away. Michael, let's see, can he get back to the inside? He does before Harry Gant can get there.
Or you got to stick it back there in a hurry. You get out of line. If you see a little bit of an opening, you got to try to get her back in there.
Earnhardt has taken 3rd while we give you another field summary. Oh, and Michael is into the wall in a whole big pileup in the 3rd turn, blocking the track.
Man, oh man, what a pileup. Caution flag is out.
Michael Waltrip ends up with the most damage as his Pennzoil Pontiac is badly damaged in the rear end.
Well, that's too bad. There's Bobby Hillin trying to get a lap back, but couldn't do it. Brett Bodine.
This is our 6th caution, and we'll look at this again.
Here we see Harry Gant trying to get on the inside of Michael. Michael does not realize he's there. He comes down. Harry touches him in the left rear, and around he goes. Then Rusty Wallace runs in the back of Harry. He spins, and everybody hit everybody.
Yeah, and then they straighten Harry out, and he just comes on around.
Here's another angle.
There we see Rusty getting hit by Darrell Waltrip, and Davey Allison running in the back of Morgan Shepherd. He spins.
And then they all straighten out.
They all straighten out, keep on going.
Yeah.
Everybody got headed in the right direction except Michael, and here he is on pit road.
A lot of damage to that car.
A lot of damage.
Jerry is in the Brett Bodine pit as he comes in.
Well, as expected, they will take advantage of this unfortunate incident with Michael Waltrip. The caution flag out. The Quaker State Ford Thunderbird comes down to be serviced by the crew, Donnie Richardson and the rest of the crew. They are changing all 4 tires. They also put a little oil in the drive plate in the rear of the car. They use a cambered drive plate for these short track events. This is the car they ran at Richmond, and they kept burning up the drive plates. They don't want to have that happen here, particularly when you're running as well as they had today. They have changed right side tires, now changed left side tires, pull the jack out, and he is away.
Brett came in, and so did Labonte, and so did Petty and Rudd, but everybody else that was on the lead lap basically stayed out, including Earnhardt, Jeff Bodine, Alan Kowicki, and Rusty Wallace. Back with more right after this. Under caution here, the top 5. It's Earnhardt, Jeff Bodine, Alan Kowicki, Rusty Wallace, and Davey Allison with 226 laps completed. Morgan Shepherd comes in, so does Harry Gant, as we ride with Morgan Shepherd on his way to pit road. And there's some damage there on the right side of the car. They're going to the right front to see if they can pull it away from the tire.
And damage on the left front of Harry Gant's car. You can see him pulling that away. Let's go to the pits and John Kerner.
This is his second time in the pits for Harry Gant. The first time he missed it 3 laps ago because Michael Waltrip, who was confused, he thought that he was supposed to pit in his pit stall, but they waved him on by to the garage area. At the same time Harry was coming down pit road, he had to go back out, come back around. What they've done is they've changed right side tires, left side tires. They pulled away what sheet metal they can, but there's a plate that's underneath the front air dam, a metal plate that looks like it is dragging the ground. There was some sparks there when it came down pit road just a few minutes ago. They may have to cut that off. Right now they're scurrying around, waiting for Harry to come back in. Also, Morgan Shepherd, some right front damage. Harry will bring the car back into the pits. Andy Petrie and the crew looking at that front. And you can see where they're working in around the oil cooler area. Now they got to put jack stands under it. It looks like Harry Gant will not have a chance to win. And now the rain is starting to fall. You can see the spots leaving, the marks on the contact
concrete. Harry does go away this time. It wasn't as lengthy stop as I thought. Andy Petrie will talk things over now with the rest of the crew and see if they need to bring in Harry for any additional work, but the rain is starting to fall, guys.
And, John, they don't have a lot of time to work on the cars because most of the cars are still in the race, and you can see the rain there on Mark Martin's cars. We'll look out over the roof cam of his, but with most of the cars still in the race, they take up about half of the racetrack, and these cars go out and catch up to the back of the pack and then come in to get more work done, and they just don't have time to do much work if they're going to stay in the lead lap.
A lot of cars showing damage, and about lap number 7, Richard Petty was involved in a crash up in turn number 4, and damaged his car to the point he's about 113 laps behind, but there have been better days here at North Wilkesboro. Here's our Petty memory.
This Richard Petty memory is brought to you by Prism, the only spray-away car polish. North Wilkesboro and Richard Petty have had a special relationship through the years. The King has won 15 times at the Speedway, including 6 out of 10 from 1971 to 75.
It's just been a good racetrack for us. I guess really we started out in a super speedway era, but we used to run a lot of short track races, and from time to time we were just a dominant force on the short track. And no matter where we went, the cars handled good, they run good, and had good pit crew. You know, you had everybody covered, and in a area of 10 years and stuff, we won all these races. I mean, we win, 3 or 4 races in a row, and then might run second or something, and then go back and win another 3 or 4 races.
170 laps short of a full distance. The first Union 400 has been stopped because of rain. The red flag is being displayed, and so King Richard and everybody else comes into the pit area and stops, hoping that the rain will go away very quickly.
And here's the cause for the caution flag. This is inside Morgan Shepherd Sitco Ford. He's following Rusty Wallace. That's Harry Gant up there. All of a sudden we see Michael Waltrip sideways, Harry Gant sideways. And boom, he runs in the side of Harry Gant, goes down across the curb, gets the car righted, puts it in gear, and drives away.
And this time it's real time, and listen. Boy, isn't racing fun?
We see all those yellow tarpaulins down on pit road. That's to keep the pits dry.
Blue tarpaulins.
What did I say?
Yellow.
Did I say yellow?
Mm-hmm. That's okay. I don't think it's going to last very long. The rain, and the drivers are being asked to stay in their cars. Jerry?
Bob, one driver who just climbed out of his car, though, reluctantly, is Michael Waltrip. His Pennzoil Pontiac, heavily damaged in the garage area. Michael, what looked to be a good day early on with the car very competitive now is over. What happened?
Well, I thought when you got old, you're supposed to get patient. And there's an old guy driving a green car. I'm not going to call him a turd because he isn't. He's a good guy, but I don't know what he is right now. He's just really upset because he ran over me from behind for no reason. We were all bunched up, nowhere to go, and he clobbered me. So it's a shame. I promise you, Jerry, there ain't a better bunch of guys that work on race cars than the Bahari team. I'm proud of all of them, my owner, Chuck, and especially Pennzoil. They stuck with us through a lot, and we've had it all happen this year. And I just thank the Lord for Pennzoil and for the fact that we didn't get hurt today. And we'll go to Martinsville. We need to go to Easter first. We'll take Easter Sunday off and have a good chat with the Lord and try to get him to help us a little bit. And then we'll go to Martinsville and try to rebound. It's really disappointing.
Indeed, the last 2 weeks, both the Waltrips looking for a little bit of luck. That's all they need. They got great race cars. Let's check in with John Kernan.
Jerry, up on this one, we're looking for some blue skies. We don't have it yet, but the dark cloud is basically passed over the speedway. It has quit running here on the front stretch. In fact, the raindrops that we could see just a few minutes ago, leaving their marks on the concrete here on pit road, have now dried up. I don't expect it to be a very long caution as we look in the background where on the horizon where that dark cloud came from and moved through right now. Don't see anything really too threatening, just some cumulus clouds that look like they're going to come through. So looks like we'll probably get this race in.
How you like that, huh, Benny? Cumulus clouds.
Is everyone down there a weatherman?
Well, as John indicated, I don't think it's going to last very long, but they have put the cars on pit road, and now I guess we can release Jerry and John to go to the hot dog stands, as Benny did yesterday during the short red that we had during the modified race. We're Winston Cupping this afternoon. The race is stopped at the end of 230 laps.
Back at North Wilkesboro Speedway, let's take a look once more inside the NASCAR truck here in the garage area and what's actually happening with the weather radar. Again, to orient you, we have Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina here. This is North Wilkesboro Speedway right here. This is the weather front I showed you a little bit ago that has basically moved by the Speedway. But the scattered fronts that were to the west of us have now consolidated into a solid line of thunder showers. Now the good news is this solid line seems to be just moving to the south and east of the Speedway. We are just on the edge of this. It is clearing right now with just a few sprinkles left. Apparently what we are told, they're very optimistic to get back to green flag racing very shortly. Hopefully this will continue to move in an easterly fashion. If it moves north at all, we could have solid rain for a lot of the afternoon. Bob?
Jerry, is a lot of that there on the radar anomalous propagation?
Yeah, it's colored crayon too, Bob. It looks like someone turned a 3-year-old loose with a green crayon, but this is basically all, you take some more medication, Bob, for your cold, will you?
No, that's what they call it when, you know, sometimes you see radar and it shows a blob of something that's actually echoes off other things, and that's what they call it. Anyway, here's a Fran Field summary while we are under caution and the cars begin to move back out onto the racetrack. A long time ago, I started to mention, and I was interrupted by a caution period, that we congratulate this guy sitting next to me on my left because Benny Parsons took a bride last night, went out to the old homestead, had a great barbecue, and Benny and Terry became man and wife. And all of us at ESPN wish them the best.
That's pretty neat. I appreciate all of you coming out last night. And Ned had birthday parties with your grandchildren last night.
Yep.
He wasn't able to be there. We missed you, Ned, but understood why you were with the grandkids.
Sorry I couldn't be. Carson and Natalie having their birthday party.
Just to tell you what kind of a guy he is, they were originally planning the wedding, in Lake Tahoe or someplace in early June, but because all of us were here and because so much of Benny's family is still living here in this area, they decided to have it last night. We appreciate being able to share it with you.
Well, thank you.
Well, the cars are on the racetrack and probably have to get a little bit of moisture out of it first before we go to green. Harry Gant is on pit road along with Morgan Shepherd. Now Harry moves out as we get set to resume the First Union 400 in just a moment. Just resumed as Dale Earnhardt is the leader of this race with Jeff Bodine running second and then Alan Kowicki, and out front of Dale Earnhardt both Dick Trickle and Bobby Hillin.
They've worked for a long time, Bob, trying to get back in the lead lap, and they are out there right now. Trickle is beginning to pull away a little bit, so he needs the caution. He'll be right back in the pit of this thing.
You think Childers, Chocolate Myers, Will, Kirk, all those guys wasn't doing a rain dance just a moment ago? Look here, Earnhardt pulls over. Let's Jeff Bodine the outside. Can Jeff do anything with it?
Good run for Jeff today. He now comes.
Something's wrong with Earnhardt's car, guys. I mean, something is wrong.
He slowed off a little suddenly there.
He did.
About turn 2.
It's like he's lost a cylinder or something.
Boy.
Yeah, going up the straightaway, he's not as strong as those Fords that just went by. Of course, well, the Ford fans say, well, they've been strong all year down the straightaway, but I think there's too much of a difference here now. I think you're right.
It looks as if the bad luck for Dale Earnhardt is continuing, and this is Jeff Bodine's first lead of 1992. First time he's led a lap.
Yeah, Dale Earnhardt has definitely lost a cylinder, something wrong. The car, just the engine isn't running like the normal run. Eddie Lanier, Daniel Lawrence, those guys do a great job.
Working on him there. Let's go to the pits and Jerry Punch, and we'll find out about Earnhardt's car.
RC, he seems to be slowing a little bit. Is there a problem with the car?
No, he hasn't said nothing. We don't know if maybe knock the toe in out a little when he gets that 6 car or not.
So we'll keep an eye on Dale Earnhardt down here. They're trying to wait. We won't keep Richard Childers off the radio so he can listen to his driver when he comes by. They're trying to find out themselves what the problem may be. They're concerned about possibly a steering problem or a cooling problem with the front tire.
Here's Kowicki on the outside of Jeff Bodine. Bodine has been trying to pass the 66 car of Hillin. Can't get on the inside. Now Kowicki is going to try to go on the outside.
Well, we saw him pass Earnhardt a while back on the outside. It took him a long time to do it, but he did stay up there and pass him.
Back in the pack, some real racing going on. No, well, let's go back to the front now. We'll stay with this battle for the lead. And now Kulwicki again trying to get his nose to the inside of Bodine, but couldn't do it.
Kulwicki has the fastest car here today, if he can get in front. But again, these fellows, through pit stops, what have you, they're up there. And here we go back in the pack again. That's the 10 car, Derek Cope, Ernie Irvin, the 4, Yellow 4. There's Rudd, the 5, the 12 cars, Hutch Strickland, all these cars. Kyle Petty's in there. There's Terry Labonte, who ran so well early on.
And now they put a lap on Bobby Hill, and at least Jeff Bodine does. And here comes Alan Kulwicki to also put a lap on. Earnhardt appears to be moving okay again.
Now the car seems to be running okay. I think that these fellas were held up behind the 66 car. That's one reason that Earnhardt was able to catch him, but still, if he's on 7 cylinders, it doesn't appear as he is on 7 cylinders now.
And fellas, the sun has come back out here now, which might change for some, make the setup better for some, make it worse for others.
Yeah, it's been a variably cloudy day. We've had sunshine, clouds, a little bit of rain. Now the sun is shining again. So it's very difficult to set a car up for competition here today.
Look at Jeff Bodine. He's put 3 or 4 car links on Kulwicki.
And we saw Dick Trickle in this picture there just a moment. He's pulled out a pretty good lead there over Bodine. Of course, Trickle is back in the lead lap now, trying to stay there, hoping for a caution. He got a lap down as a result of being a victim of circumstances on the spin earlier when Kyle Petty and Davey Allison got together. Has raced hard to try to get back in the lead lap, and he has done it now.
Brett Bodine and Ricky Rudd are battling for position for 7.
Remember, Brett Bodine was leading the race when Harry Gant and those fellows had the problem up there, the caution flag. He then went in the pits and changed 4 tires. The other fellows stayed on the racetrack. I'm talking about Earnhardt, Kulwicki, Jeff Bodine. Now, Brett has to fight his way back through the traffic.
7th and 8th, Ricky Rudd, retired Chevrolet.
And right behind him now, Ernie Irvin and Kyle Petty are locked in a duel.
Irvin was able to get by Kyle Petty. And that's Terry Labonte directly in front of those guys.
So it is Labonte in 10th and Irvin in 11th. Now they're the 21 and 33 cars. Both of those, of course, damaged in that incident up there in turn number 4 a few laps ago.
Don't seem to be affecting them too much, Bob. They both made numerous pit stops during the caution. They could not work on those cars during the red flag period we had, but during caution laps, they were coming in and making some adjustments on them, so they seem to be in pretty good shape right now.
Let's go back up front and check how Jeff Bodine is doing, holding off Alan Kulwicki, and quite well.
He's holding his own, that's right. Nothing has changed in the last 3 or 4 laps since we left this race.
Down a 3-4 car length advantage for Jeff Bodine. And there's 3rd place Earnhardt, not too far behind. In 4th place, Rusty Wallace. 5th is Allison.
Our current Winston Cup point leader up in 5th spot, so he's got a good run going.
And we might mention that he has not sought relief help from Jimmy Hensley. He instead is still out there. Jerry?
Well, you consider when Davey Allison could not even get in the car 2 days ago to qualify it, he had to get Jimmy Hensley to qualify the car. Hensley did a great job qualifying at 7th, and now the miracles of modern medicine, he is wearing a small device about the size of a small tape measure with batteries in it to help alleviate the pain. He has not asked once to get out of the race car. In fact, he's right now running in the top 5.
And they have always said that when you have pain before a race, once you get in there, the adrenaline starts pumping, and if you're especially running in 5th spot, the car's working well, you don't feel that pain.
Exactly. Said so many times, race car's best medicine you get. Maybe that's where you need to be, Bob.
I need to get down there, don't I?
Oh, yeah, you got rid of that cold and sore throat and all that today.
I doubt it.
Might have got rid of you.
Yeah. Jeff Bodine remains the leader of this first Union 400 over Alan Kulwicki. We'll be right back. Welcome back to live coverage of the First Union 400 Winston Cup race from North Wilkesboro Speedway in North Carolina. 259 laps into this race with Jeff Bodine showing the lead. Our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by Fram Oil Filters. Fram, you can pay a little now or a lot later. And by Chevrolet, the heartbeat of America, the cars more people depend on.
Something's wrong with the 7 car. He is starting to fall back. His car has been fast all day long. Now Jeff Bodine pulling away, and Earnhardt is catching him. So either the car is not handling or he's having some type of problem. I saw him up high just a moment ago, up in 3 and 4.
I believe it's setup being on the car right now. So we mentioned the sun is back out. The track has changed from what it was. It was cloudy there for a long time when he was running so good. Don't know if the sun's hurting him a little bit. The car might be a little bit tight, pushing for him. But don't know. We'll have to check and see.
Two guys who have been running with each other just about all race. In fact, running sometimes a little too close to each other. Morgan Shepherd and Harry Gant.
These two fellas, all that front end damage we see on the car, Morgan's damage came when he hit the 33 car. The 33 car hit the 30 car, I guess.
They're running 12th and 13th. Both of them on the lead lap. And Ernie Irvin spins in turn 4.
He spins around, no contact so far. The caution flag is out.
He's down on the inside of the track. That's a good place to spin to because the cars have a tendency to go out as they come off of that turn, so he's out of harm's way.
And Dick Trickle did, in fact, get his lap back in that Snickers forward.
Yeah, he's glad to see this caution.
So that will now put Dick back on the lead lap, and we'll have 15 cars that are on the same lap as the leader. Ernie Irvin spinning down in turn number 4 and bringing out our 7th caution of the day. And from the indication is that perhaps the 42 car got into Ernie Irvin.
Yeah, we see the 42 car. We don't know what happened.
Anyway, here come the front runners down pit road. Dr. Jerry Punch will be at Alan Kulwicki's pit.
Remember last week in Bristol, Tennessee, Alan Kulwicki's car was again to go away, and something the caution flag would come out, he'd get a break. That's exactly what happened just now. His car was beginning to slow down, the tires were going away, they had a bad setup, and now they get a caution flag. 7 on the bottom of your screen, that's Kulwicki. Left side now on the motorcraft forward of Jeff Bodine as the Bud Moore crew working up there. As the Bodine crew finished their circle, let's check in and John Cronin up in the Harry Gant pit. We're on the left side now before tire change. You can see all that front end damage. It have affected Harry out on the racetrack. He was holding his own on the lead lap. Speeds down pit road in front of Kyle Petty. Morgan Shepherd also out.
Making sure not to exceed the speed limit, which is 30 miles an hour.
And Rusty Wallace, I believe, won the race out of pit road. Davey Alice was second. Earnhardt third, and I think Jeff Bodine fourth that time. Bodine had a great pit stop, but the other Wallace's crew must have been even better.
Yeah, they were. They got out of there in a hurry. The others were far down at the end of pit road. We'll see it here. See, there's Earnhardt's car. There's Rusty going by. And then Davey Allison and Jeff Bodine, it looks like beat Earnhardt to that line.
And now NASCAR is putting the 15 car up in the 3rd spot.
By just about a half a car length, Rusty Wallace will be the leader when we go back to racing at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. 135 laps to go before the checkered flag falls on the First Union 400 at North Wilkesboro Speedway. The cars are lining up, getting ready to go back to green from our 7th caution flag of the afternoon. Rusty Wallace will be up front with Davey Allison second, then Jeff Bodine, Dale Earnhardt, Alan Kulwicki, Sterling Marlin, Brett Bodine, Ricky Rudd, and Terry Labonte.
Michael Walter back on the racetrack. The Pennzoil Pontiac, they repaired the damage the best they could and put him back out, trying to get all the points he could. He can, I should say. Elmo Langley pulls that Pontiac safety car off, and Rusty Wallace will bring him down as the leader.
Green is out. This is riding with Mark Martin. The Folgers in-car camera, the Valvoline Ford driven by Mark as he is a lap down, but between first place Wallace and second place Allison.
Probably see those RPMs a little bit higher now with new tires on the car. Yep, up to 8,300 there.
And Alan Kowicki is on the move. He's passing Dale Earnhardt.
Went on the outside, just drove by. And we saw him earlier not able to do that. So, quite a mystery. He's up in the 4th spot now. And direct in front of him is Jeff Bodine in 3rd place, the Motorcraft Ford. Jeff Bodine, Alan Kowicki. Kowicki still getting a great jump off the 2nd corner.
Rusty Wallace still leads. Davey Allison is 2nd.
And a battle here. Ricky Rudd and Bill Elliott, Brett Bodine, the 94 of Labonte, and the 22 of Sterling Marlin leading the way.
Bill Elliott is a left-hander, but riding forward.
Labonte trying to get by Brett Bodine. Here again, right behind these two, watching.
Marlin is 6th, and Rudd trying to take that spot away from him. Meanwhile, behind those guys, another side-by-side battle involving Labonte and Brett Bodine.
Ricky Rudd made the pass on Sterling Marlin and moved into the 6th position, dropped Marlin back to 7th.
And Labonte now makes the pass on Brett Bodine. Harry Gant's going to give it a shot.
Yep, Bodine's caught on the outside. Harry Gant is going to sneak inside of Brett in turn 3 and take another position away from Brett, so he'll want to hit that quicker state forward back down on the inside as quickly as possible.
Yeah, he moved very quickly to get that there.
Another Fram Field summary for you. The top 5, Wallace, Allison, Bodine, Kowicki, and Dale Earnhardt.
The next 5 was Sterling Marlin, Ricky Rudd, Terry Labonte, Brett Bodine in there again. There's the race for 3rd place. Jeff Bodine in the 15 and Alan Kowicki. They're the top 14 cars. On the lead lap, Martin Martin, the first car 1 lap down. Vince Irvin, Strickland, Miller, Elliott, Jerry. Darrell Waltrip and Ted Musgrave. Then we go to the cars just 2 laps down. Greg Saxon, Dave Marcus. Only 2 cars, 2 laps down.
Several of these cars here in 29th and 30th, so many laps down, were involved in crashes. Jimmy Means is out of the race, and Richard Petty is also involved in a crash and is 114 laps behind. Jerry has an update on Dick Trickle.
Bob, Dick Trickle in the Stickers Ford is the 14th and final car on the lead lap. He's the first car in front of Rusty Wallace, our leader. But a minute ago, a close call for Trickle. The car just simply shut off coming out of turn 4. The car rolled back to, he switched to backup ignition. Now the car is refired and running again, but he lost a lot of time. He's only about 15 car lengths in front of the leader.
Trickle's had a tough day. He's managed to get himself back on the lead lap and is still there, but it hasn't been an easy road for him. Now Kowicki is bearing down on 3rd place Jeff Bodine.
Bodine in the Bud Moore Motorcraft Ford having a very good run, maybe the best run of the year for him.
And Bud Moore has more short track wins for Ford than any other car owner in the modern era. 9.
Once again, we're watching the Ford telemetry. Let's see how slow he gets down this time. 80, 75. Now he starts accelerating up the back straightaway. 100, 112, 116 miles an hour before he lets off, gets on the brakes.
Rusty Wallace is one of those guys looking to turn his season around. He hasn't finished in the lead lap since last fall at North Wilkesboro. It's been 10 races. But right now, Rusty Wallace is the leader in the Miller's Genuine Draft Pontiac at North Wilkesboro. We'll be right back. Welcome back to ESPN Speed World today at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina Speedway for the first Union 400, being led by Rusty Wallace in the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac. Running in 2nd spot is Davey Allison, then Jeff Bodine, Alan Kowicki, and Dale Earnhardt. Look at his year compared to last year. not nearly as successful in 92 as he was in 1991. And here's Davey Allison.
Getting a little closer.
Yep.
I was told down in the garage area that Roger Penske came to Mooresville this week. Rusty Wallace, they all had a team meeting and said, okay, guys, let's get this thing going. Let's pull together. They even practiced some pit stops. And the result, he's leading the race. Jerry Punch, what you got to tell us?
That's exactly it, Benny. Roger Penske, Rusty Wallace, Don Miller, the three principals who own this racing team, the Miller and General and Draft Pontiac. They met with all the team members early in the week. They have all worked so hard. Maybe they're working too hard, but the truth that we're going to knuckle down. We're going to get better and better in the pits. They blamed themselves for some poor pit stops last week at Bristol. Well, just a minute ago, you saw what an outstanding pit stop they had here, and it was even better than we realized. They're pitting about halfway up pit road. They changed 4 tires, got Rusty Wallace back on the racetrack before anyone else, including the Earnhardt crew, and of course that's putting up front where he's leading right now.
Only one top 10 finish for Rusty Wallace so far in the 1992 season, and that came just last Sunday in the Bristol race where he finished in 9th position. So, Rusty, what are you doing to turn your luck around in 1992?
The biggest thing we've been trying to do is just organize and get everything back on track. We got the personnel, we got the cars, we got the motors. We just haven't had any luck. And so we're trying to get our luck back up, get our pit stops good. Roger came in town Wednesday, Penske did, and we had a long talk, and I think we'll be much, much better from here on out.
I think we're pretty well established that Penske was in North Carolina last Wednesday.
Yeah, he was. He visited the Rusty Wallace shops, and it must have paid off. He must have said something that inspired them.
And every time it rains, Rusty does well, you know. Remember last year, the races he won both had rain in them.
The 1989 Winston Cup champion, the 1984 Rookie of the Year in Winston Cup. Well, our congratulations to Greg Dugan, or Duggan, whichever it is. Anyway, he's a 39-year-old individual who lives in Oviedo, Florida. And he is today's winner in the Gillette Halfway Challenge Sweepstakes. He correctly identified Dale Earnhardt as the leader of the halfway point and won a Chevrolet Lumina Z34. Now, entries now being accepted for the next race. Call 1-900-436-7000. The call will cost 95 cents. You must be 18. Or you can send your name and telephone number to Gillette Halfway Challenge, Post Office Box 1868, South Hackensack, New Jersey, 07606.
Well, Ray, congratulations.
Yeah.
Pulling off in a new Z34.
That is so easy. I wish we were eligible for that, Betty and Ed. What do you think? We can.
Be nice, wouldn't it?
We'd probably be working when they call. We wouldn't be able to answer to go to the phone. So.
I'd probably forget who it was, too.
Here's the 3rd and 4th place cars. Jeff Bodine and Motorcraft Ford, and Alan Kowicki and the Hooters Ford. Kowicki has just not been able to do anything with Bodine. Now, up ahead of them, of course, is Davey Allison and Rusty Wallace, who are running 1st and 2nd. And here's Dale Earnhardt, who seems to be closing in a little bit, fellas, on those Ford. And Ricky Rudd has definitely closed in on Dale Earnhardt.
He's right on Earnhardt's back bumper, and that is for the, 5th spot.
Yeah, Earnhardt is running 5th, and Rudd is running 6th. Rudd was back about a half a straightaway behind Earnhardt about 15 laps ago, so he is running down.
Another Autolite field summary for you, showing that Rusty Wallace leads Allison, Bodine, Kowicki, and Earnhardt in the top 5.
6 through 10 is Ricky Rudd, Marlon Labonte, Gant, and Brett Bodine, a 10th place car.
There are less than 100 laps to go in this race. And we have a spin.
Well, 21 car is, we're looking from the inside. I guess he saw a half spin or something. There's still no caution light.
Well, apparently got all the way sideways and saved it, and so no caution. Oh, good bumper cam shot. Face full of Oldsmobile.
Dick Mast, here comes Dick Trickle up on the outside of Rick Mast as he tries to pick his way up through traffic.
Look how this camera is bouncing. You suppose he's got a, I don't know if it's a camera, car, what kind of problem. I mean, look at it bounce.
Yeah.
Maybe our camera has come, the bracket's loose or something, and it's bouncing up and down.
Yeah, the car doesn't seem to be bouncing that much, although here comes Dick Trickle down on the inside.
That was a scary shot.
It was a scary shot, wasn't it?
Man. Here's John Kernan with an explanation.
Morgan's car is extremely loose. You can see all that front end damage. They think they knocked the toe out just a little bit. It's very, very loose right now. And I saw him come out of turn 4 just a minute ago. He got it sideways, saved it, and that car is just really, the rear end's kicking way out when he comes out of the turn. So he's definitely having a very bad problem right now.
He has a handful, as they say. 13th spot, Morgan Shepherd.
Ooh, you want to catch the thing? Yep. But he did catch it.
Yeah.
Quick lap closing in on him.
I've been in that situation, got behind on my steering, as they used to say.
Rusty Wallace, not behind with his steering. He is in front of everybody as he leads this First Union 400. We'll continue our coverage now under partly sunny skies in a moment. The trouble is not in your set. Kyle Petty is going the wrong way on the racetrack. He spun up in turn number 3, brushed the wall. Is now trying to get the car headed in the right direction as he is the reason for our 8th caution. Ooh, nice job of spinning that car around.
Well, he's now trying to not go another lap down, but there goes the pace car and all the other cars by him. Apparently the car died when he spun it around, and he can't get it refired again. So tough break for Kyle Petty in the mellow yellow Pontiac. Everybody else coming down pit road right now.
More pit stops as Jerry Punch is now positioned in Rusty's pit. Jerry?
And we'll see if Eddie Dickerson, Bill Wilburn, and the rest of the Miller Genuine Grand crew can duplicate their efforts of just one caution to go, as they will try to service him and get him back out as quickly as possible. The right front tire rolls away. The 2 on the top, 15 on the bottom, as you're watching Jeff Bodine's Motorcraft crew going to work the Budmore team. Now, left side tires going on the Pontiac of Rusty Wallace. Left side tires likewise on left side. Davey Allison's left side tires. The Hamlin Ford Thunderbird crew now putting left side tires there. And here's the battle back for turn 1. And Davey Allison looks to be the first car with Rusty and then Bodine and then Earnhardt.
Yep, that is accurate, Jerry. Good job there. Davey did win the battle out of the pits, followed by Rusty and Jeff and Dale and Ricky and Harry and Alan. All of those who were not on the lead lap come in for their pit stops. Now, just before the caution, look at the interval between Rusty Wallace, who was the leader, and Jeff Bodine. Laps 298 through 302. And you can see that Bodine began to eat into that lead before we had the caution.
Well, in 5 laps, he'd gained almost 1 second on Rusty Wallace. It looks like it takes just a little bit of time for Jeff Bodine to get his car going.
Under our 8th caution of the day at North Wilkesboro, stay with us. We'll be back with more right after these messages. The First Union 400 live on ESPN Speed World on this what is now a nice sunny Sunday afternoon. Just had a round of pit stops, and Barry Dotson, the new crew chief on Derek Pope's car, wearing our crew cam. Derek with a bit of a problem getting out of the pits. The crew did a great job.
You know, Barry Dodson was talking to Derek Cope as he brought the jack around and put it on the car. Did you see the hand up there? He was talking to Derek Cope.
I tell you, Derek Cope was glad to see this caution come out. He was really struggling back there. He's been in the lead lap all day, but he's having a tough time right before the caution came out.
And Jerry Punch has this report on the leader, Davey Allison.
Remember at the top of the show we told you Davey was wearing an electrical nerve stimulating device on his right lower back to try to keep the muscles stimulated so he would not have cramps and spasms and most importantly pain. The pain in the back isn't there, but just a minute ago during the caution he has complained of a cramp in his right upper thigh and outside of his right leg. So we'll be watching that. Davey said, I think it's going to be okay, but I'm not sure he can hang on. We'll have to wait and see.
Elmo Langley brings the pace car in and the green flag comes out on lap 318.
Ernie Irvin, the Kodak Chevrolet on the inside, trying to get a lap back. He gets by Davey. I've got to hope for a caution flag so he can go all the way around the racetrack to the back of the field.
Darrell Waltrip is in 15th position. He's the first
the fourth one there in line. And some action behind the leader. Now we're with Mark Martin, the roof cam. That's Bill Elliott, of course, in number 11, who has been off the pace all day. Gant and Kowicki are racing for position.
This is position. Kowicki's on the outside. He's got Harry Gant up behind Bill Elliott. Bill Elliott is moving over and letting these faster cars go by. That is not going to help Harry Gant because Kowicki's going to be able to get by, I believe. He does.
Kind of expected better things from Bill Elliott today. He's currently running in 17th position, and he's a lap down. Started in 20th. Of course, Junior Johnston's record we have already documented here in North Wilkesboro, but Bill has just not been competitive today.
No, he has stayed one lap. He went a lap down early, Bob, in about the first 100 laps, but has stayed just one lap down, but really the car is not working up to their expectations.
And there are a couple of guys also going for position, the 22 of Sterling Marlin and the 94 of Terry Labonte. That would be for 8th spot.
That's the 22 car is in 8th. The 94 car is in 9th. Harry Gant is in 7th. Labonte gets up and almost got in the left rear of the 22 car driven by Sterling Marlin.
Marlin is having a disappointing year compared with last year. He was 10th in the standings at this point in 1991, and he's 23rd this year.
Now then, Bill Elliott, if he's a teammate of Sterling Marlin, will back off and let the 22 car go by.
Meanwhile, Ricky Rudd and Dale Earnhardt are running side by side, and this is for 4th position.
That's the 5, overtaking the 3, passing him.
Taking the long way around. Alan Kowicki is right behind Earnhardt. There you see the nose of his Hooters Ford coming into the picture.
4th, 5th, and 6th.
Now, fellas, we've been watching Bobby Hillin all day, the car number 66. He got penalized. He was held in the pits for 5 laps. NASCAR says that he bumped the 42 car that caused that last caution, so he was held in the pits for 5 laps. Tough break for Bobby Hillin, who had a good run going there today, but evidently either made a mistake or something happened and he and Kyle got together.
That's the first use of the penalty box, I believe, that we have seen in 1992. So Hillin has that rather disappointing distinction.
There we see Earnhardt on the inside, Kowicki on the outside. This is up turns 3 and 4. Here comes Kowicki. He would have had the lead that time. That's for the 5th spot.
It's about 3rd time today that he's passed Earnhardt on the outside. Earnhardt gives him plenty of running room.
He makes the pass.
Watching from the roof cam on Mark Martin's Valvoline Ford. Great shot. Now the telemetry. Up to 115 again before hitting the brakes.
7,900 RPM. Might go up a little bit higher going up the back stretch.
Fifth place car, Alan Kowicki. 6th, Dale Earnhardt. Third is Davey Allison, Rusty Wallace, Jeff Bodine, and Ricky Rudd.
There's Davey.
His back's not hurting nearly as bad up front as that's about 2nd, 3rd, isn't it?
No, that's it. It feels a whole lot better there. But he gets past and you say, well, my back was hurting, and that's why. But no, not really. I mean, he's giving his all. No question about it.
Here's another Autolite field summary. Davey Allison looking for his 2nd victory of 1992. Of course, he started the season off with a great win at the Daytona 500. Finished in the top 10 in every race until we got to Bristol last weekend when that broken oil line caused him to spin, hurt his ribs, dropped him to a 28th place finish. So if indeed he can come back and win this race, it'll be a good comeback story.
It's remarkable. There's still 14 cars in the lead lap. We've had a number of cautions which has helped that situation. But
here's the side cam. Look at this. That's the triple out to the left, or right rather, and Brett Bodine up front.
Ooh, they are close, aren't they?
Man.
If we see some blue smoke come off these cars, we'll know they got too close. Trickle makes the pass on the outside of Morgan Shepherd. Jimmy Spencer's Marley Black Gold Chevrolet on the inside of these cars.
There's Davey Allison leading this race, and the laps are winding down. 334 now completed. At the First Union 400. If you're just joining us, about 3:30 Eastern Time, don't go away. You can catch the final laps of this First Union 400 Winston Cup race. 338 of the 400 are complete. Davey Allison in a Haviland Ford car number 28 is the leader of this race. In second position is Rusty Wallace, then Jeff Bodine, Ricky Rudd, and Alan Kulwicki. We had a shower that moved over the track and caused a red flag for a while, but since then, it's been pretty sunny. And here's second place Rusty Wallace.
What Davey Allison needs is a break. If he can get these cars racing for second place, he may be able to drive away and these cars not catching. He needs for Jeff Bodine to catch the black 2, Rusty Wallace, the 5-car get involved in it. We get a race, 3-car race going for second place, Davey Allison say, see you later.
That could be what's going to happen, because I think Bodine and Rudd have both been closing in on Rusty here in the last few laps, and I think we're going to see a 3-car battle here in just a moment.
Yeah, they have caught Rusty now. Rudd's car seems to be working a little better now than it has for a good while. In the early part of the race, he was fast. He sort of dropped back in the field, but stayed in the lead lap all day. But now look at him come off in turns. He's showing what he showed in practice, in qualifying.
We see that Rusty and those guys are gaining on Davey. If anything, Davey's not pulling away, but if he can get these guys racing, if they still concentrate on each other and slow down just a little bit.
Now we'll do an interval between first and second position. Davey comes off corner number 4. We'll get the interval clock going here. Oh, there's a car on the wall. We'll do it a little bit later. That's Jimmy Spencer in the Molly Black Gold, number 98, who has fun. Ooh, Davey just barely missed him, huh?
He almost turned down in front of Davey.
So this is the 9th caution of the afternoon. Jimmy Spencer.
And the 4th car has made his lap up. Ernie Irvin's passed Davey Allison, and he's made his lap up. I think he's back in the lead lap now.
Yep, second time today that he's made a lap up.
That'll give us 14 cars on the lead lap.
There's Ernie, Kodak Film Chevrolet.
Actually, he was pretty far out in front of Davey. He had pulled out there to about a half a straightaway in front of Davey and was just sitting there riding, hoping for a caution, and sure enough, he got it.
We're getting down to nitty-gritty time now, guys. Pit stops now. You've got to make that great pit stop. Get back out on the racetrack in front of these other cars, because you may not be able to pass them. Run out of laps.
Track position is very, very important.
Here they come down pit road.
They all choose to come in.
30-mile-an-hour speed limit. Allison leads him down with Rusty right behind him.
See Rusty diving in the pits. Jeff Bodine already working on his car. Here again up on the very top. There goes Davey. He stops. Earnhardt. Trickle just went by to Jeff Bodine's car. Right side's on. Jeff is down. Round to the left side already on Jeff Bodine's car. Here's Rusty Wallace. They're tightening the left side on his car. And down he goes. He's moving. 15's moving. Let's see, the 28's moving.
Yep.
The 28's to 2. And then Earnhardt lost. I guess he ended up about the same spot he was on the racetrack.
Yeah, he wound up in 5th place. So Davey got out first, Rusty Wallace 2nd, Jeff Bodine 3rd, Ricky Rudd 4th, and Earnhardt in 5th.
So we may be set up now for the end of the race as 346 laps are complete. All right, Jim, we'll stand by to join you in San Diego right after a completion of this race. Now, there is Joey Knuckles of Davey Allison's crew, and talk about working hard during a pit stop. Watch this.
Knuckles the right front tire changer. Where's his shoe?
worked so hard.
Man, that's above and beyond the Call of Duty, isn't it? Just working right out of your shoes.
He's not even paying any attention.
The green flag is out, and we're back to racing here at North Wilkesboro.
Here comes Davey, his car. Joey Knuckles' car, the car he's working on, James' car. Our leader, Rusty Wallace, right on his back bumper.
Got about 48 laps to go. Rusty closing in on Davey.
Last time he was right directly up on the back bumper. This time there's about a half a car length. I think Davey's like the old guy in the desert. He's smelling that water now. He knows Victory Lane is not far away.
Something like that. It's like coming in from the cold, how your new tires feel.
Exactly.
Not far behind them, Ricky Rudd is working on the car number 15 of Jeff Bodine. There you see him going into turn 3. And here is Alan Kowicki also working on Harry Gant and Earnhardt up there.
4th, 5th, and 6th. Earnhardt, Gant, and Kowicki.
Kowicki has lost that dominance he had early on. First half of the race, car clearly the best car, the most dominant car he is. Right now, he's struggling.
Yeah, the first half of the race, it was basically Kowicki and Earnhardt. And now, in the second half of the race, it's been Allison and Rusty Wallace for the most part, with a little bit of Jeff Bodine thrown in.
And it may be that Kowicki's car just won't run except one place on the racetrack. And once they got him back in the traffic and got him out of the position out of the front, he was not able to pass these cars on the outside. He may be run as well as anyone at his place on the racetrack.
Here is Rudd working on Jeff. This is for 3rd position.
Kyle Bennett's Miller Yoloponiak on the inside of him. He made some contact in the 3rd turn wall. Rudd taking a look on the inside. Can't get up there.
Another Autolite field summary for you.
All those 10 cars in the lead lap. Brett Bodine back there in 10th place. Terry Labonte, who ran up front in the first part of the race, back to 9th. And still 14 cars on the lead lap.
Looks like the Rusty may be moving in on Davey.
He is. I think he has gained a couple of car lengths in that last lap. Remember, it's about 15 car lengths a moment ago. What's this, 10? Yes, he is gaining on them. Rusty Wallace almost drove in the infield that time, trying to find the best way around the racetrack, the perfect groove.
Boy, the attrition here has been unbelievable. Only 2 cars officially out of the race. Several are behind the wall now. Again, Ricky Rudd and Jeff Bodine racing for 3rd spot.
We talked about the Ford GM thing. We got a Ford, Pontiac, a Ford, a Chevrolet. Where Harry Gant goes by. Ooh, we see some contact between the 3 and the 7. As I said a moment ago, when you see that blue smoke, that's not good.
Well, Kowicki thought the hole was going to be still open when Harry Gant went by Dale Earnhardt. He dived under there, and Earnhardt closed the hole.
And while that was going on, Ricky Rudd passed Jeff Bodine.
So that moves Rudd up into the 3rd position now.
3rd, 4th, and 5th right here. Rudd, Bodine, and Harry Gant.
The question is, does he have enough time now to get up to the leaders? Leaders being Davey Allison and Rusty Wallace.
Right now, they're about a half a straightaway behind. There is Allison. And Rusty Wallace is second. Jerry, an update on Davey Allison, if you will.
Well, they've been asking Davey to drink as much as possible to try to control some of the cramps he's having in his legs. You know, last fall when they ran here, the crew that left this racetrack felt they were at fault for not winning the race. The Earnhardt crew and the Harry Gant crew consistently beat him out of the pits time after time after time. They came half of the day. We are going to win the battle on pit road and give our driver a chance to win the race. Thus far, as the laps wind down, they've done it.
And a very interesting graphic there. Davey has led every race so far in the 1992 season, and this is going to be a big win for him if he can come off with the checkered flag this afternoon with all the problems physically that he's had during the past week after that crash at Bristol.
And he's got a couple of weeks to rest up if he can get through this race. No race next weekend, Easter Sunday.
We'll be at Martinsville for the next race in 2 weeks. And now Harry Gant is trying to pass Jeff Bodine.
Yeah, he's beginning to ramble a little bit, fellas. He's in 5th position, but I'm running 4th, trying to move up on him. Yeah, with that battered race car, but we've seen him run battered race cars before, still do well. That's right.
A lot more battered than that.
Martinsville last year in particular. The biggest 5 injuries.
And behind them, it's Earnhardt and Kulwicki.
We've seen Kulwicki pass Earnhardt the last couple of times after the caution flags, but this time Kulwicki's not able to get by. 6th place, Dale Earnhardt. 7th place, Alan Kulwicki. Alan Kulwicki was their pole sitter. He won the Unical Challenge last week at $22,800, so it's only worth $7,600 this week, so no big deal.
Right. Although we won't have a Winston Cup race next Sunday, we do want to make sure you're with us next Saturday night at 7:30 Eastern Time. We'll have a live Speed Week from Ventura Raceway in California prior to Saturday Night Thunder. Great race last night. Jimmy Sills won. Hope you saw it. And we'll be there live next Saturday night for Speed Week and then Saturday Night Thunder.
Well, Kulwicki come off the 4th corner that last time and lose the back end on the car, so not handling the way it was earlier.
Now let's go back up front, see what's happening. And the interval between the two, just about the same. Davey with a bit of a problem getting around Dave Marcus, and Rusty with just a tiny problem getting around Rick Mast.
Davey needs for him to catch the 71 car down in the corner. It looks like that's going to happen.
I was going to say, that looks like it could happen here in turn 1. In any case, Davey continues to lead, and we will be right back with more of the First Union 400. Bob Jenkins, Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch back at North Wilkesboro Speedway in North Carolina for the concluding laps of the First Union 400. 24 circuits to go. Rusty Wallace is in 2nd position, but he's closing in again on Davey Allison, the leader.
He's closing in, but he's running out of time, and he gets a bad break. He catches a 68 car going in the corner. That's going to take a little time. Now he has to move up in front of him and go on the outside of the 16th. Every move that he makes right now that's not directed forward costs him valuable time.
Our Western Auto mechanic of the race is Eddie Dickerson. Here's John Kernan.
Well, Eddie, congratulations, Western Auto mechanic of the race. You guys done a really good job today in getting Rusty in and out of the pits.
These guys right here are the mechanics of the race. The crew chief gets the credit for it when it's good and bad. All the guys, we've been practicing pit stops back at home and working 12 and 14 hours a day. If we beat Davey or not, we feel real good about what we've done today, and this is the way you win a championship we can do this week, and the guys really want it bad.
It kind of looks like Rusty's catching him just a little bit. Is Rusty catching him out there?
Yeah, I think he's got a little something saved up. It's about 20 laps to go, and we're going to see what we got. I don't want to break his concentration on the radio. I'm just giving him lap times. I just hope he can beat Davey. I'd like to wish my wife, whom I didn't get a chance on these 14-hour days, happy 40th anniversary, baby.
There's Eddie Dickerson.
40th birthday. Yeah, I'm not that old.
Yeah, he had to correct that, or else he would have been in a lot of trouble when he got home, you know it?
Man, I didn't think he'd been married for 40 years, huh?
He's also in a lot of trouble. Everybody's wife's 40 years old.
Yeah. Maybe more so than being married 40 years. Well, Rusty has narrowed that gap now to just about 8 or 10 car lengths. And another battle is between the 5 car of Rudd and the 15 of Jeff Bodine.
Rudd got by, what, 10, 15 laps ago, but he's not able to drive away.
And Harry Gant called them, and he hasn't been able to do anything with Jeff Bodine. So there they are, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th place cars. Just can't do much with each other.
Now just 18 laps to go.
Tell you what, Rusty's going to catch the 28 car. I don't know if he's going to be able to do anything with him. But he's going to catch him, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, he's just inching in there.
We're talking about that guy smelling the water. Also, Rusty Wallace can smell it.
But you know that Davey Allison, after all he's been through, is going to fight for all that's in him to keep the lead and come out with another victory here today. In any case, he's going to look good as far as points are concerned.
Boy, look how low Rusty keeps that Pontiac down on the inside. It's working good down there for him. He likes that group. James said earlier, trying to find him a spot that'll work just right, and that's where he needs to keep it.
Well, Davey Allison is running a little bit high. That might help him in a traffic situation. If his car runs better up there, he may be able to go around the traffic a little bit better than Rusty. The first thing he got is catching traffic.
Yeah.
And Jeff Bodine are nose to tail.
Well, Ricky Rudd is pulled away from them just a little bit. You can see him going out of the picture.
4th and 5th.
Dale Earnhardt is 6th. Alan Swift is 7th. There's
now the leaders are catching some traffic. That's Derek Cope directly in front of Davey Allison. It's really important. Okay, he moves up and Davey gets the inside. Whoa! No! I thought he was going to get the inside. So did Davey.
Derek is running 14, so now 13 cars on the lead lap. And as they thread the needle between Derek Cope and Michael Waltrip, now the lead is down to about a car length and a half, Allison over Wallace.
Ted Musgrave in the Jennifer engine car direct in front of Davey.
It looks like it could all come down, guys, to traffic.
If Davey makes the wrong decision, if he decides going to the outside and Musgrave moves up, Rusty Wallace will take the lead. Or vice versa, if he goes on the inside, Rusty can bull by him on the outside.
10 laps to go. 10 to go. 390 complete. We'll leave this battle momentarily to show you some action in the back of the pack, or further back in the pack. That's Harry Lamonti and Brett Bodine and Dick Trickle. And all three of these drivers have been having great runs today.
They're all on the lead lap.
9th, 10th, and 11th.
Lamonti, if he can stay there, will still have another top 10 finish. Every race this year, top 10. If he can stay there, but both those cars pass him, he's about out of the top 10.
See those yellow wheels he has on? I think it's Michael Waltrip's tires. He probably borrowed those from Michael. Fits well with that yellow on the Sunoco sign on his car.
Fits well with the blue and yellow Sunoco color scheme.
You guys keep watching this. I'll watch the leaders. If anything happens, I'll let you know.
9th, 10th, and 11th right now. Now here's back to 1st and 2nd.
Nothing's happened. Davey is still leading, and Ford's still leading. Ned, we talked about the Ford GM thing. But I think Rusty Wallace would consider this a small victory, even if he finishes second. This could be what it takes to get his season turned around and start in the right direction. These cars ran well. He's had some great pit stops.
They're coming up on some more traffic. There's Bill Elliott and Jimmy Spencer running side by side right in front of them, fellas. This could make a difference.
Less than 6 laps to go. Coming around, it'll be 5 laps.
And
Rusty bumping him.
Right on the back motor. Elliott backs off. That's the car's going the inside. Now Spencer backs off, and they're still hung between the two cars. Look at Elliott go way up out of the way to let these guys go on. Good move, Bill.
You bet.
Real sportsmanship. Now Spencer doing the same thing. He didn't know that Elliott was going to back off out there, and if they did it at the same time, he's about to jam them up.
Yep. 4 more laps to go. Will it be Davey Allison or Rusty Wallace in the first Union 400? Davey Allison looking for his 15th career Winston Cup win, and Rusty Wallace looking for his 21st.
I don't think traffic's going to be a factor the remainder of the race. Bobby Hillen's up there, also Hut Strickland, but I don't think these guys will catch him before the end of the race.
If they do, Bobby Hillen will get out of the way.
Two more.
The Ford win streak.
Oh, look at that low line that Rusty is running. Has he been saving that?
Never know.
Has he been saving that? I'm telling you, he was right down on the grass and made up a lot of ground on Davey, but he is catching Bobby Hillen.
Here we go. Here's the last lap. The white flag is out.
Now, Hillen's going to be there where Rusty would like to be, down on the inside. He can't get down there as low as he would like to get, though.
That's right. The last time he was right down there where Hillen was.
Allison leads down the backstretch. Rusty looks to the inside in turn number 3. Will it be Allison or Wallace? Here they come off the 4th turn. It is going to be Davey Allison winning by about a car length over Rusty Wallace. Finishing 3rd was Ricky Rudd. Here comes this battle between
Labonte, Brett Bodine, and Trickle. And it's Labonte with a note. Look, somebody's got in the back of Labonte's car. I saw a piece of sheet metal dragging.
That was 9th, 10th, and 11th you saw across the line there. But here is the winner of the First Union 400, Davey Allison. Here's John Kernan.
Well, Larry, good job in the pits, but what about the job for the driver? They say that these guys aren't athletes, but he certainly played hurt today.
Well, I certainly think he proved it today. You know, he started complaining around about cramps, caution with about 75 to go, and he just kept drinking liquids and kept rubbing his muscles and all, and I can't say enough for this entire Texaco Havoline team. Considering the week we've had since Bristol a week ago, I mean, it's phenomenal.
You know, with all the adversity you had this week, it makes it that much sweeter, doesn't it?
It really does, you know, and you know, to come back here at Wilkesboro and win, you know, I won here 2 years ago with Brett. Davies had a tough time here. We started coming back and doing pretty good here last year. Considering, I want to thank Jimmy Hensley before I forget for helping us out, because I don't think this would have been possible without his help today. So I'm lost for words.
We'll let Larry get on up to victory lane. Bob?
Great victory by Davey Allison, and the car is on the lift, being hoisted up to victory lane here at North Wilkesboro. We'll talk to him in a moment. The top 5 finishers here in the First Union 400, Davey Allison, Rusty Wallace, Ricky Rudd, Jeff Bodine, and Harry Gant. Our Speed World coverage being brought to you by Valvoline. People who know use Valvoline. And by Buick and your local Buick dealer. Remember Buick, the new symbol for quality in America. Now let's go down to the Kodak winner's circle with Dr. Jerry Punch and Davey Allison.
Davey Allison getting his head wiped off here in the car as he is inside the race car, getting that Texaco Havoline hat on. Davey getting a deep breath. Davey, congratulations on a tremendous effort.
Thanks, Jerry. You know, it was a great race for Texaco Havoline Thunderbird and Texaco Havoline racing today. You know, I got to say thanks to Jimmy Hensley for coming in and practicing this car and qualifying it for us. He gave us a great starting spot. The car worked good all day. You know, he's a great race car driver, and I hope somebody out there will give him a break, give him a sponsor to run his Busch Grand National car, or maybe get him in one of these Winston Cup cars.
They say athletes play hurt. You played hurt today and came out on top. You had some cramps late in the race. They weren't sure you were going to be able to make it.
Yeah, my left leg started cramping real bad in my thigh and in my calf, and I couldn't stretch my leg out, so I couldn't rub either one of them to get them worked out. You know, I just kept mashing on the footrest down here, and it finally went away. When they threw the green flag, it was just take care of the race car and take care of myself the rest of the day. I want to say hi to my grandmother out there. I love you, Grandma. Hi to Liz and Kristen and Robbie, too. Sorry I'm not coming home tonight, but I'll see y'all in a week or so.
Davey Allison, who lost Pop Allison, his grandfather, a couple weeks ago. An emotional win here. He overcomes pain and all the grief to go to victory lane for the second time in 1992. Bob?
And it's his first ever win here at North Wilkesboro, his 3rd career short track victory. Again, the unofficial results, Allison, Wallace, Rudd, Bodine, and Gann, and several guys there in the top 5 needed good finishes and got them.
I think Rusty Wallace might have got his day started. His season started today, Ned.
And Ricky Rudd as well, finishing in the top 5 there.
Once again, Terry Labonte finishes in the top 10. Brett Bodine in the 10th place.
There's Trickle, Morgan Shepherd, Ernie Irvin, Cope, and Darrell Waltrip. You know, Waltrip was running good there at the end of the race.
Yep.
We got a lap down early, but hung in there. Was running good at the end of the race.
Mark Martin with a disappointing 16th, and look at Bill Elliott. Started 20th and finished in 20th position, so he came into this race second in points, is going to lose some to Harry Gant, who finished well up in the top 10. There's 21 through 25, now 26 through 30, showing you that Kyle Petty finished in 28th, Michael Waltrip with a crash 29th, Wally Dallenbach, and then Richard Petty and Jimmy Means finished 31st and 32nd. Needless to say, Davey Allison stretches his advantage over Harry Gant, who has now moved to second because of Elliott's bad race. Terry Labonte remains in fourth, and Alan Kowicki remains in fifth position in the quest for the Cup standings.